What's going on, people? We are Tottenham TV as the manager search looks like it's reaching its final destination. And obviously that is Roberto Zerbi. It looks as though it's all pretty much signed, sealed and delivered, really, without the here we go, without the official club announcement. But we are...
You should know better. When it comes to Tottenham, nothing's done until it's done.
It's true. But the state of play as of now is that Fabrizio Romano is saying that Zerbi to Tottenham is really, really, really close. Here we go, expected soon. Spurs really admire his attitude, tactical quality and connection with players. He said that last night, by the way.
We get a here we go for the here we go.
Yeah, we've got the pre-here we go. Damasio says that Zerbi has verbally accepted Tottenham's proposal with final details being sorted. Tottenham have preliminary agreement with Zerbi. Just a few final details to iron out, but the definitive approval from Spurs. Tom Allnut says that some Spurs players had dinner last night and they are excited about the idea of Zerbi arriving. Tottenham have agreed terms with Zerbi on a 5-year contract for the Italian to become the new permanent head coach of Tottenham. Tottenham are expected to confirm the appointment within the next 24 hours, and the Italian coach is set to be at Hotspur Way later this week as the players return from international duty, and we'll talk about the backroom staff in a little while. But yeah, look, it all seems like the dominoes are falling.
Yeah, things are hotting up. It seems like this is really happening, and Tottenham are about to get their man. And I think it's definitely split opinion. It's fair to say this appointment,
literally half.
Yeah,
like in all the polls that we've done.
And I can understand why. It's a very divisive appointment. I think, from one hand, he's a very talented coach, and we've seen his body of work at other clubs in terms of how he sets them up and he's tactically very astute, and he's very, very smart, and he's been in some ways revolutionary in some of the ideas he's brought to the Premier League when he was at Brighton, and the way he's overperformed at certain clubs has been very impressive. And he bring that to dare is to do kind of ethos to his football that Tottenham fans want. He's Premier League proven as well. He was being sought after by many big clubs in the past couple of years, ever since he was at Brighton. The likes of Liverpool, Man United, and even Man City have been touted as looking at him as potential successors to their long-standing managers. So from that point of view, you're like, okay, Tottenham are in a massive hole here. And it's a bit of a coup to get him in at this point, considering our options, considering the position we're in. We're not exactly the most attractive proposition right now, are we? In the midst of a relegation fight. We've got a lack of options on the managerial market. We've been rejected in the past by high-profile managers as well because of reservations about joining a team like Tottenham. So to convince a manager of his quality, I wouldn't say stature, but definitely his quality, is quite a... It's a bit of a coup at this stage, because we're talking about names like Glenn Hoddle, Tim Sherwood, Harry Redknapp, Ryan Mason, Sean Dyche. This is the kind of pool we're shopping in. So Zerbi is clearly by far and away the most talented coach of all of those names.
It just seems like in this season we're just working our way through Marseille managers.
Exactly, that's what it seems. So on that point of view, I think there's a lot of reasons to be potentially excited about the appointment of Roberto Zerbi, and as well, I think if Tottenham were under normal circumstances, and I think if we were mid-table or this was a pre-season we're talking about coming in right now, I think there would be a lot more excitement about the his potential appointment. But on the flip side, I understand the very, very serious reservations about his temperament. He's a massive hothead. His personality, the fact we're offering him a 5-year deal for a manager who's never lasted more than he asked his Sassuolo for 3 years, but his average tenure is about 18 months.
What's the Spurs manager's average tenure?
Yeah, probably around that as well. He doesn't usually last long at clubs. He's never been in a relegation fight before. He needs time to implement his way of playing. He's not afraid to let his feelings known in public. And is that going to cause disrepute within the club and with the fan base? His comments that he's made previously, is he the right character that Tottenham fans can get behind and want to represent their football club? A lot of supporters groups have already made their feelings clear about some of the things he said previously. So there's a lot to be worried about. Are we offering a guy a 5-year deal for that he's only going to see out, maybe lucky to see out a quarter of that? as well, is he coming in circumstances where we're just so desperate, we're throwing the money at the situation to get a manager through the door who doesn't really want to be here, and we've kind of been down that road before to convince managers to come here who kind of see it as a favour to kind of be at Tottenham, and it always ends up badly because it's always like the manager holds all the cards, where they're not actually coming in because they believe in some sort of project or they want to be part of this football club. It's more because money talks, and they just basically, we've thrown so much money at the situation, we're so desperate for the situation that we've come to him right now with 7 games to go to get us out the mire, when that's not really a great situation to be basically approaching a manager in. Obviously, that is the situation we're in. So anyway, there's a hell of a lot of pros, a hell of a lot of cons to this appointment, I think it's fair to say. From my point of view, just sticking to the football side of things and sticking to how I think he is as a coach, I think he is a very talented coach, and I think he is our best shot of staying up. I'm looking at all the names that we have been linked with, and he is, for me, the best shot of staying up. And I also think, if we're looking at the whole picture, the future of this football club, and where I want us to go, where I want us to be, I think this kind of appointment, at least, I understand it's hard to look beyond this season because we're in the relegation fight, but at least with this appointment, if he can keep us up, you're looking forward to next season thinking, okay, he's kept us in the Premier League. It's also a bit of a mini pre-season because, he's had a prelude into next season, and we can really, with some good signings and whatever, he's a guy
mini
who
pre-season, but the results actually matter.
Yeah, yeah, true. He knows, this is a manager who knows what he wants from the players that he signs. He's going to have a clear direction. It's going to play the football we want to see, and there's going to be stuff to be excited about next season. And I think all of a sudden as well, some of the players might start getting excited about being at this football club again and want to be part of this, what we're doing, and we can start to go in the right direction in the long term. But and I think in the short term, I think he's a much more talented manager than any of the managers we've spoken about as potential replacements for Igor Tudor. So I think part of me is excited, but I also completely hate the fact that we're in this position of having to basically bend over for him and bow to his every wish. In terms of, he's basically come here and said, I ain't coming here unless you give me a 5-year deal because I hold all the cards, and we kind of have to say yes. And we're making him the 3rd highest paid manager in the league, and we're bowing to his every demand, and we're basically beholden to him, which is not really a great position to be in as a club. You shouldn't be beholden to the manager. They should be beholden to you. You should have the power, and we don't have the power. And he's a volatile character. So all of that stuff doesn't sit right with me when it comes to the footballing side of things. But I
prefer it, to be honest.
But I do think he's a very talented manager.
Do you not prefer it, that Zerbi holds all the cards as opposed to like the likes of Vinay and Johan Lang?
No, because it never ends well.
But it never ends well regardless. It never ends well when Enoch hold the cards. When has it ended well when Enoch hold the cards? You know what I mean? Like, it never ends well at this football club regardless. So let's try a different avenue and see if it can work, I'd much prefer someone that is the manager of the football club, that has an identity, that has a philosophy and has a pathway forward, holds the cards, than the guys that know nothing about football. I much prefer that, to be honest. And I don't think it's a case of De Zerbi not wanting to be here. And look, he obviously doesn't want to be here at this moment in time right now. But I think if we would have stayed in the Premier League, he would have taken the job with open arms in the summer. But right now, obviously, with the future in doubt and everything like that, he's obviously second-guessed it like any top manager would, or any good manager would. That's why we were only linked to the likes of Ben Davis, Glenn Hoddle, Harry Redknapp, Tim Sherwood and Ryan Mason. No big manager or no manager that worth their salt or has managed even the last couple of years would even consider taking the job where Spurs are at right now. I completely agree with you in what you're saying, that, this guy is our best route to staying up. And I don't care about the money situation right now. I don't care about all the situations hanging over him, his temperament or all like that. All I care about right now is staying in this division. Mm-hmm. That's all that matters for me. And I think this is the best avenue to do that. I really do. He's the best manager available on the market at this moment in time. And I hear all the kind of situations around it and the 50-50 split in the fan base. But I think people need to ask themselves honestly, like, who would you actually rather take the job right now? who is actually out there that can come in and be like, you know what, I'm gonna keep you up. And it's not even a guarantee. De Zerbi does that, by the way, but it's the best chance available.
I absolutely agree, because you get any of these other managers in, I don't understand how you can tell me those other managers that we've mentioned are less of a risk than De Zerbi. A manager who's knows the league, he knows what it takes to get results in this league. His football works, and the fans can get behind that kind of football that we want to see. And I think most importantly, the players can. I've read a lot of quotes from players who have said that they really enjoy playing the football that he's played at the clubs he's been at. It's very tactical. Yes, it can be very confusing, and it does take a lot of work, which is definitely a reservation because we don't have a lot of time. But once it gets going and once it's in full flow, I think it's a joy to watch, and I think it's a joy to play. And I think the players love playing that kind of football. And I think these players are begging to play that kind of football again, especially since Ange left. I think I do think they really believed in the kind of football that Ange wanted to play. And I'm not saying this is Ange ball. It's very different, but they want to play on the front foot. They want to be a more expansive team. They want to be a more attacking team. Now, the question is this a situation to do that? Is this the right circumstance to implement that style of play when we're in a relegation dogfight? And, in previous years, how do you get out of relegation dogfight? It's fighting, it's scrapping, it's fighting for every challenge, every ball, digging deep, being hard to beat. That's kind of what people perceive getting out of a relegation fight looks like. So I think there are definitely question marks whether implementing that kind of football right now is the way to go. Also, we don't know what he's going to implement because he's never been in a situation where he's come in with 7 games to go. It's a very unique situation. Does he come in and say, look, you know how we want to play football and you know what I want to implement, but we don't have time for that right now. We're just going to stay in this division. I don't have the time to implement all these very complicated pressing structures or build-up structures, and that's going to take weeks and weeks in a pre-season to implement. Right now, we're going to just do very basic stuff to just try and get enough results to stay in this league, and then from pre-season we go. Does he kind of softly launch some ideas while also keeping a very basic, pragmatic kind of stance in the team? Or does he just go, look, this is the best way to play football. This is what we're going to try and implement to the best of my ability. Even if it takes time, we're going to go full ham on this way of playing from the get-go, and this is how we're going to stay in this division. I don't know what he does. And I think there's probably reservation. That's probably the main reason he didn't want to come in right now, because does he have time to implement the way he likes to play football? So it's going to be very, very interesting to see what route he goes down once he's implemented. He is going to have 10 days on the training ground. Apparently, as you said, Tom Walnut said he's going to be back here at the end of next week. So he's going to have time with the players who are back from international duty. 10 days is not a lot of time, but it's also more than he would have had if he came in some circumstances where we had 3 days or whatever. So we will have 10 days. He will be able to implement something over 10 days. But whether it will be his full-fledged idea of football remains to be seen. So
with the full squad, it will be about 7 days.
Yeah, 7 days. So it's going to be very interesting to see what that looks like, what his football looks like in such a short amount of time. But for me, what would all these other guys who we're talking about, being appointed, either they haven't managed in over a decade, or they're not very good managers, or they're a manager like Sean Dyche, who first of all doesn't want to be here for 7 games, and secondly, he plays the football that these players already have been on record essentially not enjoying and not thinking they should be, not thinking that gets the best out of them, put it that way. So bringing that kind of manager in, for me, I don't think is a very good idea either. So for me, I think De Zerbi, there's also a view of a long-term appointment here. I think he's the best answer for the short term. And I'm excited to see what he can do. But notwithstanding, there are many reservations about what we've done here.
Yeah, but I think those reservations, the questions can be asked at the end of the season when we look forward to the next 5 years or 4.5 years, wherever it may be, under Roberto De Zerbi. But as of now, I think it's given us our best shot possible, because it's a better shot than having Igor Tudor here. It's a better shot than sleepwalking under Thomas Frank, and it's a better shot than any of the managers that have been mentioned over the past week or so. Mm-hmm. So I'm not going to say I commend the club for getting this done, because I
no.
They are the reason we're in this mess, and all the blood should be on their hands. Johan Lang, Vinay, the Lewis family, everyone involved in, this concoction of a mess that is Tottenham Hotspur at this moment in time. So I give them no credit whatsoever. But it's good that they've had to dip their hand in their pocket and bring in a manager that's actually decent. If you asked me 6 months ago, we had the conversation about De Zerbi or Pochettino, and I said no, hell no to De Zerbi, and I'd much rather Pochettino. And, in an ideal world, I would have preferred to ride out the season and get Pochettino at the end of the year. But that's not possible right now. We need a change and we need it now. And Pochettino is obviously off the market. He's going to be managing at the World Cup. So De Zerbi had to come in now. I think this is our only realistic option.
This is exactly what I said. I think I said it when Frank was sacked. But if it's a choice between, obviously I'd rather Poch than De Zerbi, only because he's a unifying figure. He's a good manager as well in his own right. I think he comes in with unfinished business. I think the fans will get on behind him immediately, and we know what we're getting with Poch, and we know he's a good manager. But for me, De Zerbi, tactically, he's probably ahead of Pochettino. So I think from that point of view, I really like De Zerbi. I think from a personality point of view, I'll probably prefer someone like Poch and De Zerbi. But I think there's a lot to like about De Zerbi. But for me, I would rather have got Poch in. But if it's at that point where we sacked Frank, if it's a choice between De Zerbi now or waiting for Poch in the summer, I'm choosing De Zerbi now because we don't have time to wait. We don't have time to wait for Poch to come because we are in a really serious situation and in serious threat of getting relegated. So by the time we wait for Pochettino, that might never come because we might be in the Championship, and then all of a sudden maybe he gets a different job because we're not in a position for him to come, and all of a sudden that chance is gone anyway. So there's no point waiting. You get the right guy that can come in right now and solve your problems, and as well could potentially be a long-term fit. I think De Zerbi's been in the running for a few times, hasn't he? For one reason or another, we haven't turned to him and we haven't picked him. Probably rightly so, because there's the reservations we have. I understand the reasons why we've kind of not gone ahead with De Zerbi or pushed the green button on him in previously. But right now, beggars can't be choosers, and I think De Zerbi is the best option, and I think he's a good manager. So I think for me, that's why I would go. If De Zerbi's on the market now, you go for him. You just get him through the door, because otherwise we're staring into the abyss, and we could be. I think there's a very good chance if it's not De Zerbi. I don't know if any of those other managers keep us up. I really don't think so.
And also, the way you got to look at it, as much as we're saying we need him more than he needs us right now, which is obviously very true, in terms of the next step in De Zerbi's career, for him to take a job on like Tottenham with the facilities that we've had, obviously he's never been in a club like that before, and to get us back to where we kind of belong, challenging for European football, going far in certain cups and stuff. I mean, that could be massive for his career. Absolutely massive. This is the biggest job that he's had in his career.
Absolutely. When someone in the comments even says, Sim, what is Sim on about long term? When I'm talking about long term, I'm talking about Tottenham long term, like in the next, as in a full-time manager, not necessarily the next 5 years. I don't think he's going to be here for 5 years. We all know that. And when I talk about long term, I'm talking about, can we get a permanent manager in now who we could actually see being manager next season, or maybe even next 2 seasons? Like when we talked about those other guys that we spoke about, there's none of those managers are even thought about for a lot full time. They're all only interim or nothing, right? This is the only manager who's available right now who could potentially be a long-term manager.
And a decent manager at that as well.
Long-term in Tottenham terms, so a couple of seasons, and actually, could do the job, and someone who's good enough to do the job. So that's what I mean about long-term. Not that he's going to be, build a dynasty and whatever. What manager ever does do that at Tottenham anyway? So I'm not expecting that from any manager coming in to do that. So look, I think he's a good manager. I think we've done well. Well, I would say we've done well to get him in, but it's kind of like, not really, because we've had to bow to everything he said. So yes, we've got him through the door, but it's kind of like when you've basically just said yes to all his negotiating kind of demands, and I don't know how the negotiations have gone, obviously, but it seems as though whatever De Zerbi has said, we've said yeah, okay,
good.
Like I'm just saying that's not like a skill, is it? So that's not like a good, well negotiated deal, or we've done really well to get him. It's just basically like, what do you want? We're going to do whatever you say, and he's like 5 year, like he said, like ridiculous demands, 5-year deal, 15 million signing bonus, relegation release clause, or third highest paid manager in the league. He's basically put all these ridiculous demands on the table, and we'd be like, yeah, we kind of have to.
Yeah, look, he's showing up Enoch for what they are. That's the reality. That's what we're seeing here right now. Because of what ENIC have done to this football club this season, and in the mire of a relegation battle, 1 point above the drop, they have had to do this. They've had no option to do this. So I think this is just Zerbi showing up ENIC for what they actually are. So I actually think this is great. I'm loving it, to be honest. ENIC on the back foot. When's the last time ENIC have been on a back foot and not been high on their horse and being like, no, we hold all the cards here? Well, no, they don't hold all the cards, because Zerbi is showing them up for what they are, and I'm all here for it, to be honest. I really am, and at least it's a good manager coming in that could potentially take this club forward past that. And if ENIC don't give him what they want, if he does keep us up and ENIC don't give him what he want in the summer, then he's going to blow it all up in their faces. So he's going to carry on holding the cards. This ain't going to be just a thing right now in contract negotiations, I hold all the cards. It's going to keep happening. It's going to keep happening in every transfer window.
Yeah, because he has a long contract and they know it's probably going to cost a hell of a lot to sack him. And he's not afraid to let his feelings known.
And you talk about the money, right? 50 million signing on bonus, 5-year, blah, blah, blah. If I would have asked you to pay all that money to stay in the Premier League, anyone would have paid that, surely?
Yeah, exactly. That's the reality. I think I agree with that. When we're talking about all these figures, it has to be in the context of what we would lose if we were to drop out of the league. And we're talking about a massive contract here for a manager, maybe all in all, 50, 60 million or something, right? Around that ballpark. If let's say we were to sack him let's say even in the summer we sacked him, right? We have to shell out 60 million, right, to sack him. Because let's say it's like 10 million a year. And it's a 15 million signing bonus.
They're saying there's going to be a relegation.
Let's say he kept us up and we sacked him. He blew up and we sacked him in the summer, right? And he kept us up. That's a 60 million outlay compared to a 350 million, or around between 250 and 350 100 million that we would lose by not being in the Premier League. So even then it would be worth it if he keeps us up. Even if we were to sack him literally in the summer after 7 games, it would have been worth it to have him.
It's just funny how things work out, doesn't it, though? Because in January, everyone was saying the club need to panic now. The club need to buy some players. We let Brennan Johnson go on the first day of the window and didn't bring anyone in. We brought in an unknown left back from Brazil, 19 years of age, and we brought in Conor Gallagher in a position that we didn't really need, and all the positions that we need. And everyone was saying, panic and get someone in. We need players. Players are dropping like flies. We've got no players that can actually play. And they didn't panic then, but right now they're panicking.
Yeah.
And if only they would have panicked in January, we might not be in this mess.
Correct. And if they would have acted and foreseen the scenario in January, for sure we might not.
But everyone could see it apart from them.
Yeah.
Literally everyone. Which is madness. So I have no kind of sympathy for them whatsoever. No. They have dug their own hole. And it's up to them to get us out of it. And they put the money down on the table for Zerbi, and let's hope he can get us out of it.
Yeah, and I think when it comes to Zerbi, do you think? I mean, it's hard to know, but how do you think if it all goes through, obviously, how do you think he approaches these last 7 games? Does he try and implement Zerbi ball, or or is he gonna be a bit smarter potentially, or be a bit pragmatic going through these last 7 games, knowing the situation?
It's hard to know. I think that he'll try and gauge things on the training ground first and see how kind of up for it they are, how kind of tactically flexible they are. I don't know. It's hard to know, isn't it? It's hard to know, because obviously they had a whole couple of years with Ange as well, who is not the same as Zerbi, but it's more kind of similar to Zerbi than what Thomas Frank was. So the players do have kind of previous of playing all these different kind of systems, and maybe with their international teams as well, who knows what kind of systems that they play. So I think he needs to gauge things on the training ground before we can make a judgment on it. But it'll be more exciting, I tell you that.
Yeah, and I think for the one thing, looking at how he speaks to players, I've seen a few clips. I know I'm not talking about maybe the clips where it would go viral about him shouting at players and chuck him out of training and stuff like that. I'm talking about his actual training methods, like what it will be 90% of the time in training, how he encourages players to be brave on the ball. When you watch his teams play, how comfortable they are on the ball. They like to keep possession, how quickly, fast-paced their attacks are. I think the one thing I'm pretty certain that he'll do is just get a bit more confidence in these players playing a bit of football again, instead of just always hoofing it long. It seems that we seem to resort to that, and I think there are a few quick things he can implement, even if it's not full Zerbi ball, which should get the players more comfortable in possession again, more kind of brave, get them brave again, get them just playing with a bit more kind of attacking intent. And I think those are these little things. I think that could, with the quality of some of our players, I think it could be enough just to get a few results. I don't think it needs to be full Zerbi ball for him to get enough results between now and the end of the season. And I think I understand people like, oh, how is he going to implement his football? Look what Lewis Dunk said, it took a few weeks and it was like it was really confusing and stuff like that. But I think it's a very different situation. I don't think he comes in and is stubborn in this situation, saying, look, we're going to just do this from day one. We're going to only play this way right now. And if we go down, we'll go down, play my way. I don't think he's going to do that. I think he's going to do everything he can to stay in this division first. And then come the summer, we go all out with his way of playing.
Yeah, and it's positive to hear from Tom Allnutt that players already are starting to feel a bit excited about Zerbi coming in. They obviously weren't excited to play under Thomas Frank, and we saw signs of disrespect quite early on in his tenure. I tell you what, Zerbi won't stand for it if Van der Ven and Jed Spence walk past him like they walked past Thomas Frank.
Yeah.
Like he won't stand for that. Obviously, they weren't up for Igor Tudor either. So it's positive to hear that they're, potentially some of them, the ones that are still around, not gone on international break, are excited of the prospect of playing under Zerbi. And if that's the case and he can get that initial bounce, then he'll keep us up.
There's also a narrative about his character. He's clearly extremely demanding.
Yeah.
He's got
He's a micromanager as well.
Yeah, micromanager. He's got very, very high standards. He's a very intense person. Obviously, that's kind of very different to Frank, who seemed to want everyone to be his friend, and he wanted to get on with everyone, and he wanted to create a bit of a family feel, in a sense, like, if he would talk about standards, but then Romero was late and they didn't do anything, and he didn't actually set the tone of he's the boss kind of thing. He wanted to kind of be their friend, it seemed, and the players didn't respect him for that. Obviously, it's going to be very different with Roberto Zerbi, but a lot of people saying, with the squad so fragile, we're mentally at the moment, there's clearly a mental problem within the group, that they are very fragile, and when things go against them, they're very, very low on confidence. Having a character like that, is that a good thing or a bad thing right now? It's hard to know.
I think they need someone to look up to, and they need direction. They don't need someone that is going to
coddle them.
Yeah, basically. Look, I do think, some of them probably do need an arm around them. And look, we've seen situations of Zerbi, like you mentioned, going in on players on training. But these are players that are not holding up standards. Like, we can't just put our arms around people that are not holding up standards. Every player needs to hold up their own standards. With Romero, plenty of players showed the example of it this season. So I don't think Zerbi is just going to be like this guy that is just going to come in and absolutely lambast everyone, He's going to do it when he needs to do it. And I think that's been the situation over his career. And I think that obviously the negative of him saying, get your agent here and all this kind of stuff has been highlighted on very quickly. But there's not many situations that we've heard of that ilk. It's just players that have not held up to his standards. And the players need to hold up to his standards or they'll be out the door pretty quickly.
Yeah. It'd be interesting to see how that personality meshes, because if it doesn't mesh very quickly, then all of a sudden, with 7 games to go, if the players aren't getting on board with how he speaks to them and all that kind of stuff, it could be over before it begins, and that's obviously the problem.
I think like Romero will love it. Players like him will love that kind of style. But obviously we heard he didn't really like it under Conte. But I think it was a different style of football under Conte. So I think it was a bit different. But quite some interesting reports actually doing the rounds about his backroom staff. A journalist called Nicola Shearer and also some other ITKs are claiming that Zerbi is making a sensational attempt to recruit Alessandro Nesta in his staff to become the assistant. And Nesta had preferred to work as head coach until now, but he is understood to be evaluating the proposal. Do you reckon Nesta as assistant? He's definitely someone Van der Ven and Romero can look up to.
For sure. The interesting thing about Nesta is he's been a manager for the last about 5 years, and he's really been terrible.
Where's he been?
He's been at Monza for a couple stints. Where else has he been? Oh, he's been around Italy. He's been around Italy with like very little joy. I think he might have been manager for Milan for a tiny bit. but he's not been a good manager whatsoever. So maybe he's looking at the situation like, maybe I'm not a manager, maybe I could be an assistant instead.
Or maybe he's got some more learning to do.
Or maybe he's got some more learning to do.
Because like De Zerbi, I was reading about De Zerbi in his early years. Like he also had a few really bad jobs at the beginning, and then he took a bit of time out and he went around to different top managers and went and sat in on their training sessions and stuff like that, and wanted to learn a bit more. And obviously, he reaped the benefits of it. So maybe Nesta's trying to do the same.
Yeah, potentially. And I definitely think having that kind of character, that kind of, legend around the group, especially for, he commands respect, doesn't he, Nesta? He's a big name. So I think that's a positive for me. And hopefully he can get these defenders doing better things on the pitch.
And another name who has been linked to the role is Tottenham legend Sandro Ranieri. I did DM him last night to ask him. I actually didn't ask him. I just said, I DM'd him last night and I said, I hope you come with De Zerbi to Tottenham. And he just messaged back saying, I love you all. Let's wait and see. So
didn't say
he
no.
didn't say no.
Didn't say no.
Let's wait and see. Seems like there's definitely talks going on.
Yeah, there's a lot of rumours flying around about Sandro. Obviously, he played under De Zerbi at Sassuolo.
No, it wasn't at Sassuolo. It was at Benevento.
Sorry, Benevento. And he described De Zerbi as the best manager he's ever worked under.
He only had 14 games under him. Obviously, Sandro, after he left Spurs, had major injury issues and didn't play too much. But he played at Benevento 14 games, and apparently he was the captain there as well, under De Zerbi. So, yeah, he was on TalkSport yesterday just singing his praises, which was really interesting.
So, obviously, there's been a clamour to get some more proper Tottenham into the
and he is proper
staff.
Tottenham.
And yeah, so even though it's a bit of a weird one, he was here for not that long, but he was here. Everyone loves him. He's a bit of a cult hero. Obviously, he had his injury problems, but when he was good, he was brilliant, and he's always affiliated himself with Tottenham ever since. Even though was Tottenham the longest he was ever at any club? Maybe, probably.
Yeah, it was.
So maybe that makes sense then, but.
He had the most appearances for Tottenham than he had for anyone else.
Yeah, he was a very good player for us at points, for sure. So I think a lot of fans would welcome his return. Whether he's a good coach or not, that's another question. I don't really know that answer to that. But.
Yeah, I know he's been had a few experiences and over the last couple of years of, getting into coaching and stuff like that. And he's spoken about wanting to be a coach at Tottenham for a long time. And maybe he's getting his opportunity now. But it's good that someone in his backroom staff is proper Tottenham. And, we can say he's Brazilian, he's not he is proper Tottenham. If you saw him, we saw him at first hand celebrating that Europa League final win. He was sitting right above us, wasn't he? And the way he was celebrating, he is proper Tottenham. So I'm very much in favour of that. And he's been in and around the club for the last 2 years as well.
Yep.
So, yeah, look, that is the state of play. It looks as though Spurs might be trying to bring in Nesta and Sandro alongside De Zerbi.
Apparently, Bruno's going to be staying on as well.
Bruno Saltor.
Yeah.
And also Jorgensen.
And Jorgensen. Bruno was at Brighton, but I'm guessing not when De Zerbi was there.
I'm not sure, actually.
Bruno. Let's see.
Because he moved to Chelsea. Didn't he move to Chelsea with Potter? Or not?
So, he was. Oh, wait. He left on September. So, no, he left with Potter, yeah. So when De Zerbi came in, he wasn't there.
So he went to Chelsea with Potter?
He went to Chelsea with Potter.
Yeah. So that'd be interesting. They missed each other at Brighton by a day or two, and then he's going to join him at Tottenham, which will be interesting. But look, at this moment in time, we're basically... It seems like it's all done. We're just waiting for an official announcement, pretty much.
I think it's fair to say that with this appointment, as much as I'm definitely just positive of the fact that he's a good manager, and I think it's probably the best thing. We're not going to be surprised if this all blows up very quickly, are we?
No, we're not. We're not. But if he keeps us up, I don't really care.
Yeah, exactly.
All right. Well, that's the situation on Roberto De Zerbi. Just quickly before we move on to the next thing, do you think he can bring anyone with him that was at Marseille, or maybe he managed at Brighton? Do you think Evan Ferguson? Could he reignite Evan Ferguson?
I don't think
he's still so young.
I know, but he's not been that great at Roma, has he?
No, he hasn't. But he played his best football under Zerbi.
He did. Maybe. Trying to think. Most of the best players he had at Brighton have all left.
He went to Chelsea.
When you look at Marseille, I mean, yeah, obviously Højbjerg we had already. I don't know. Maybe there are some players.
Yeah. Anyway, let's go on to the next segment of the Tottenham update. And this one is regarding ex-chairman Daniel Levy. Bloomberg are reporting that former Spurs chairman Daniel Levy has hired a law firm to assess potential litigation against ENIC as he considers suing his former business partners after being unceremoniously thrown out of Tottenham, according to people familiar with the matter. Investors looking at buying shares in Spurs risk walking into a complex civil war over shares, accounting reviews, and intertwined family trusts, according to people who have worked directly with Daniel Levy and the Lewis family. It just seems like a mess, doesn't it?
So
Seems
Levy
like an absolute mess. Yeah.
God, he's going to sue us for every penny we've got knowing Levy. I mean, I don't know how to respond. I don't know what to think about. I don't know if he has a case or not. I mean, if he does, how much is he entitled to? Is it going to be a case of, was it unfair dismissal, or are we going to be forced to reinstate him? Imagine. Oh, my God.
I don't think he knows if he has a case or not, and I think he's obviously hired a law firm to see if he has a case.
But he must think he might do.
He might think he might do.
I'm not saying he does, but he probably looked at it thinking, I'll probably have a case here. Let's hire lawyers, see what they think. And I don't know what the outcome of that would be. And with that whole hang over us, obviously that could prevent any future sale for the time being, which is a headache we don't need. Yeah,
and obviously I think maybe the Lewis family might be putting pressure on Levy to sell his shares, and he might not want to sell his shares.
Yeah.
That could be a situation going on as well.
The whole thing. Ugh. This whole ENIC, I mean, the Levy split, as much as I'm happy he's gone, it's not exactly gone as we hoped, and it's just caused more problems at the moment.
But they say his former business partners, but surely they're still business partners because they still got shares in ENIC together. They're still business partners in ENIC, aren't they?
Yeah, you would think so. Yeah. I don't know. That's what I'd assume.
Levy's just sitting there so bitter in his mansion, being like, how can I get much more out of these guys? Like, has he not made enough out of Tottenham Hotspur?
Exactly. Just come on, let it go. Just out of our misery.
Just float away, man. Just float away. Go to the Bahamas. Enjoy the rest of your life. You don't need to win everything, man. Every sort of negotiation and thing you have to win, man. Just let it go. You've earned enough money.
It's easy for you to say if you can't get an extra 10 million out of this job or whatever it is.
He was the highest paid chairman over how many years in the Premier League?
For when he was here, 20 years.
You know what I mean? It's just like, this guy has got like, how much sitting in his bank account? The guy made a fortune. Probably more than any other chairman has ever made in the history of the Premier League.
Yeah.
It's crazy, man. Just float away, man. Just let it be. Ah, Jesus Christ.
But it's ENIC he's suing, so why do you care? I thought you liked seeing him on the back foot.
I do like seeing them on the back foot, but if he takes ENIC out for everything they have, it's going to infect Tottenham massively. Florian Plettenberg is reporting that Tottenham are monitoring the situation of striker Nicolo Tresoldi from Club Brugge. Other top clubs like Dortmund, Leverkusen, Arsenal, and other top Serie A clubs are all monitoring the situation, and Club Brugge value him at 25 to 30 million. Another young striker that is making waves in the Belgium league this season.
I don't know much about him. Maybe Zerbi can get the best out of him.
Yeah, it's kind of the similar signings that Brighton would make.
Maybe maybe we can trust Zerbi with them. Tresoldi.
Yeah, I wonder how influential Zerbi will be in the recruitment process and the transfer not negotiations, but the transfer decisions.
Well, I don't think he was that involved with Brighton. I think Brighton have their own thing going on, don't they? Marseille, I think he did, because when I look at Marseille and who they've signed and the kind of players they have, it seems very kind of like very different to kind of the players they signed before. So I kind of feel like he probably had a bit more of a say at Marseille, but yeah.
I don't know. I don't know how involved Zerbi was, but I do know one of the reasons that he left is because he wanted to go for a different kind of profile of player. You know, they wanted to carry on bringing in these like up and coming young players and, you know, buy cheap and make them stars, and he wanted to go for more established players to take Brian on to the next level. Yeah. So that's what we want at Spurs. I mean, it's all very well and good buying these up and coming players, but we've got enough of these up and coming players. We need players that can step in and do the job right now. But yeah, that is all the news regarding Tottenham Hotspur as of right now.
Well, we actually released our financial results today.
Oh, apparently doesn't look good, does it?
Does not look great.
I don't know what it means for us, though.
Well, nothing good. Where is it? Spurs Army did a good sum up of it. So, as the financial accounts, our profit increased by 7%, but actually the loss after tax increased from 26 million last year to 94 million.
Does this take into account Champions League revenue and after winning the Europa League, or is this...
No, it wouldn't. This is from last season.
Right.
So it takes into account winning the Europa League, but not Champions League revenue. That will come into this season. Next year. We'll know that next year. The main thing that's been... The gate receipts went up, because obviously we had... This is comparing a season we had no Europe, when we finished 5th, to last season we had Europa League. So the gate receipts went up from 105 million to 126. Obviously, we had no UEFA money, but we actually only earned 35 million for winning Europa League. It's not terrible, but it's not exactly... I think you get more than that just from qualifying in the Champions League.
Yeah.
One of the big decreases was TV and media revenue, 165 million the year before to 127 million last year.
Why is that?
Because I'm guessing we weren't picked for TV by Sky as much, kind of thing, because our league games were just a nonsense last year. Like no one was watching us. Maybe that's the only thing I can think of. We weren't paid as much. Like maybe globally as well, there weren't as many teams showing Tottenham, because from like January, all our league games were pretty much dead. So that has an effect, and also maybe the prize money for where you finish in the league. Where does that fall under? Is that TV and media?
No, I don't think so. I don't know where that would be.
Because where would that fall under? It wouldn't be commercial. It wouldn't be UEFA. It wouldn't be match receipts.
Maybe there's another pool that they're...
I don't think so. I think that's it. I think that's what adds up to 500.
We need a financial expert to come and tell us all this kind of stuff.
Anyone in the chat, where would the prize money for where you finish in the Premier League fall under? Because if it's paid by the Premier League... No, it's not paid by Sky, is it? It's paid by the Premier League. But then is that not coming from the broadcasting rights? Is that not coming from the broadcasters pay Sky these massive amount, and then the prize money comes out of that pot? Maybe, I don't know. I'm not sure.
I wouldn't be able to tell you. We need a financial expert.
So anyway, operating expenses rose from 450 million to 520 million. This was driven by staff costs, hosting larger number of football matches and stadium events, and continued technological advancement. So because we actually made a loss, our debt went from 772 million up to 831.
Wow.
So we made a bigger loss. We had a loss of 26 million last year, and now we made a loss of 94 million this season. So not much profit going on. And I wonder this season, will that continue considering our league performance? Although in a weird way, the fact that we're actually in a relegation battle compared to it being a dead like last season, maybe the media revenue won't be hit as much. Because
we did make it to the last 16 of the Champions League.
And we made it to the last 16 of the Champions League, so UEFA prize money will go up.
But also, you also get money every time you win or draw a Champions League game as well.
Yeah. So, that's the same with Europa League, isn't it? But it's not much.
No, but it's a lot more in the Champions League.
So, UEFA prize money will probably be more or nearer maybe the 70, 80 million.
And I'm pretty sure that you get money for playing in the Super Cup.
Yeah.
That would have been big. So I suspect that this year won't be any, assuming we stay up, that is.
Yeah.
It won't be anywhere near as big as that loss because of the Champions League.
But yeah, it's very interesting. I mean, comes from whatever sponsor is FA. What are people saying in the chat? Total football operating revenue.
All I care about is how is this going to impact our ability to sign players, and are we going to be stringent at PSR and stuff like that? That's the only thing I really care about.
It's not great for PSR, but I mean, because I think it's what you can't lose. What was it, 100 million? Or is it 100 over a 3-year period? I think they changed it though, didn't they? They changed it.
$105 million over a rolling 3-year period.
But didn't they change the rules recently?
Aren't they doing with PSR anyway?
That's what I'm saying, they're changing it.
But I don't think it's come in yet. I think it's still PSR as of now.
Well, what was our? Well, depends what our profit and loss was in 2023.
Yeah.
Because right now we would be over 105 million loss, but
yeah,
I think we might have made a profit the year before that. I don't know.
I don't think we did make a profit the year before that. What year would that have been?
2023.
22, 23.
Yeah.
Pre-tax loss of 95 million, it says that year. Post-tax loss of 86.8 million that year.
I don't know how this works. That surely that means we're over it, unless it's changed, unless we've somehow changed things around somehow.
Yeah, look, I think it's completely stupid to talk about this because we have no idea how it works, to be honest.
Well, those are the figures.
We need to bring on a financial expert to talk us through this. Anyone want to come on and talk about this, then you're more than welcome because we have no clue. That's the reality. Let's get into a couple of super chats. Maybe we can connect the computer while we're doing that. Michael Hellman with the super chat says, why didn't we sign him sooner? What the hell are we doing? I mean, I think we would have had that conversation before we signed Igor Tudor, but he wasn't willing to take the job, and they weren't willing to panic as much as they're willing to panic right now. I think that's the only difference.
Yeah, the reality, the difference is they didn't foresee what all the fans foresaw happening this season. So they were calm in the window. They kept with Thomas Frank. Everything's fine. Everything's good. And now here we are, all these months later, and they've finally realised we actually are in the shit.
Yeah. Tom Witten says, why the F did we sell Brennan Johnson in January? He would be helping us stay up 100%. And if that was the plan, why would we loan out Scarlett, Moore, Dorrington, Phillips, Devine, as though lads would have give their all to keep us up? Come on, you Spurs.
Say that, sorry.
He said, why did we sell Brennan Johnson and why did we loan out Scarlett, Moore, Dorrington, Phillips, Devine? I can see why we loaned out because it's better for their development. But in terms of selling Johnson, it was pointless to sell Johnson.
Yeah, the whole thing was nonsense selling Johnson, considering that we didn't replace him.
Yeah,
it's crazy.
I just don't get the people like celebrating the Johnson sale because like I can understand it if we were brought in someone better, but literally celebrating it to bring in nobody, it just makes no sense.
Yeah, agreed.
Michael Hellman says it's a win-win for De Zerbi. Either he's back in the Prem or a boatload of cash if we get relegated. Yeah.
Yeah, true. Look, it's a brilliant deal for De Zerbi. It's a brilliant deal for De Zerbi.
Yeah. And Michael Hellman again with the super chat says, what this club does to the mind is not okay.
No. Absolutely right about that.
So true, man. We're all such damaged goods Spurs fans. Seriously. All right. Next up, we are going to be taking insight of what we think a De Zerbi Tottenham team could look like. So we're going to bring up the tactics board and we're going to give you this kind of insight. So he usually plays like a 4-2-3-1 or a 4-4-3, doesn't he?
Yeah, I think this is his preferred formation. He's been known to be very...
The tactic board on the screener is a bit... You can't see the left back.
Can you... need to zoom... Yeah. There you go.
Yeah.
There
Perfect.
you go. So he is quite tactically flexible. Where have we heard that before? But he's played 4-3-3, 4-2-3-1, 3-4-2-1, 3-5-2. He's definitely mixes and matches his formation. He's not wedded to one formation, but definitely 4-2-3-1 is his preferred formation. What obviously he likes is a lot of technical ability. How he kind of baits the press. The defenders will come short. These players will kind of tuck inside, and you'd see a lot of the time some of the attackers coming short, playing a 1-2s with the centre backs before releasing the midfielder into the space. So I think he really likes technical midfielders. He likes strong runners in midfield as well. You know, the likes of Caicedo, Baleba. Obviously worked very well under Roberto De Zerbi. He likes very fast and, wingers very comfortable on the ball, very comfortable taking on their men. Obviously, Mitoma came through under Roberto De Zerbi. He was absolutely brilliant under him. And that was one player you could point to in terms of he likes his a lot of his wingers to be fast, but again he's very adaptable. He kind of adjusts to what he has. I've seen him play a midfield two of Caicedo and McAllister. I've also seen him play a midfield two of Billy Gilmore and Pascal Gross, who are just two technicians. So he kind of depends on the opposition as to what he likes. But what he definitely requires from everyone is everyone be comfortable on the ball, everyone be brave on the ball. I think he prefers his midfielders to have least touches as possible, one touch passing to release players into space. He drills his players into that. The only time he likes his centre-backs to kind of wait for their, what he calls press baiting. So they drop a bit deep, wait for the players to come onto them. And then once there's a pressing trigger, they start these very quick combinations to play through the lines. What you'll see is kind of something like this, so like if a defender's behind Sarr here, he will come short. Romero play it into him, and then he will kind of release Sarr there, like a third man run. So there's a lot of little triangles going on when it comes to with Roberto De Zerbi and how he likes to set up his players. And he likes his midfielders generally to be high and wide, his wingers, sorry. And up front, again, I've seen him play a few different things. I've seen him play Trossard up front. I've also seen him play João Pedro up front. And I've also seen him like Danny Welbeck as well up front on a few scenarios. So I don't think he's wedded to one, but I do think Solanke would be the main thing.
Well, we just got the here we go. Shall we bring up the tweet?
Yeah.
Well... Sorry to break you in full stride there. We'll revisit that in a minute. But we just have got the here we go from Fabrizio Romano. So we'll bring up the tweet in pretty much a second. But here we go. Breaking news. Tottenham agree deal to appoint Roberto De Zerbi as new head coach. Here we go. Story revealed yesterday, now confirmed, as De Zerbi has accepted the Tottenham job with immediate effect. Can you just scroll down a little bit? Yeah, there we go. 5-year deal set to be signed as De Zerbi decides to accept this challenge. So there you have it.
There you have it in black and white. We got the here we go. Roberto De Zerbi to be new manager of Tottenham Hotspur. And it's let the ride begin, as they say. It's going to be a crazy time. I don't know what to expect from this appointment. I think there's a lot to be excited about, and there's a lot to be worried and concerned about as well. there are definitely multiple ways of looking at this, but I do think in general, it's a good appointment under the circumstances. I don't think we could, do much better than kind of what we've got to deal with, and he is going to be the new manager of Tottenham Hotspur. I mean, the whole deal was crazy. The whole circumstance of this deal was crazy. It could be, this could be a disaster, but it also could be just what we need. It's going to be very interesting to see where we go from here.
Yeah, because as long as he keeps us up, that's all that matters right now. We can worry about what can come after this, after it's all said and done in the Premier League. But I am convinced that bringing in Zerbi now, I'm not convinced that he's going to keep us up, but I'm convinced it's given us the best possible opportunity to keep us up, if that makes sense.
Yeah, I completely agree. So, for a 5-year deal set to be signed. No news yet of any sort of break clauses or signing on fees and all these different things. We'll obviously await to hear. I'm sure now this news is broken, there's going to be more and more news kind of filtering when it comes to the Roberto Zerbi stuff. But that is it. We've got the here we go. So Tottenham have their man. We have a new manager at the helm. And the Roberto Zerbi era is about to get underway.
Yeah.
What do we expect from this, guys? Is this going to be what we all expect? Is it going to blow up? Or could we have found the guy who's just exactly what Tottenham needed?
Could he actually find a home at Tottenham?
Could
which
he?
He's failed to find anywhere else, really.
Yeah, I mean, I think for me, when it comes to the football he plays, I think the fans are going to really take to that. There's going to be I think the one thing we know with Zerbi and the football he plays is there's a very noticeable identity on the pitch when it comes to how he sets his team up and how he gets his players playing and how they approach games. The little one-touch passes, the little flicks, the brave kind of possession football. But I also want to say, if you're one of those fans who gets nervous when Vicaro's on the ball, I don't think you're going to like Zerbi.
We're going to need a new. Do you reckon he favours Kinski over Vicario?
There's a chance, because you watch Brighton play, and how their goalkeeper, whether it be Steele or Verbruggen.
But it was actually interesting at Brighton. Like, he would chop and change his keepers quite regularly, wouldn't he?
Yeah, he would. Yeah, he wasn't wedded to one keeper.
So, like, depending on who the opposition was and how he would need to play in that specific game, it would either be Steele or Verbruggen.
Yeah, for sure. So, but what if you're nervous about the ball being played in your own penalty box and the ball being kind of passed around, and you're one of those fans who goes, just get it up there, if in doubt, kick it out, all this kind of stuff, you're not going to like Zerbi ball.
Well, now this has happened, and we've basically hired Zerbi. Where are you putting us in terms of, like, percentage-wise still to go down? Do you reckon it's decreased a bit?
I would say it's decreased a bit. Yeah, I would say it's decreased a bit. I think this gives us a better opportunity. Obviously, it's hard to really know where exactly this does leave us and how quickly he's going to get us his tactics implemented, all this kind of stuff. So we are very much going into the unknown for him, for us. But that probably would have been the case for any manager we would have appointed. But I think, based on the fact of his quality as a manager and his motivational skills, his tactical ability, all this kind of stuff, I think it gives us a better opportunity. I do think he's a better manager than Nuno. I think he's a better manager than Vitor Pereira. I think he's a better manager than Daniel Farke. So I think getting a manager of that quality, for me, gives us every opportunity to stay in this division and can get us the wins we need to stay in this division. Now, the reality is, the barefaced fact of the matter is, it is so late in the day. It's 7 games to go. He has 10 days with these players before it starts getting starts with the games coming thick and fast again. So I can't sit here and say this has saved us for sure, and now we're guaranteed to stay up, because anything we do, we could sign Pep tomorrow, and Abramovich is chairman, and we're still not guaranteed to stay up. But it gives us the best opportunity, and I think he's a talented enough manager to navigate this situation between now and the end of the season, and I think keep us up, and then he can start implementing a much more his philosophical approach coming to next season, getting more of the players that are more suited to his way of playing and all this kind of stuff. That obviously comes a bit later, but I think this has given us a really good chance. I would say if for me, it was very much 50-50, maybe even 60-40 to us going down before this appointment. I would say this takes it a bit more in our favour now, I would say.
Well, looking at these games coming, Sunderland away will be his first game, and then his first home game will be Brighton at home.
Yeah,
which is mad, isn't it? First home game. I think, the fan groups are still, I'm sure they'll still be doing the line the streets thing and welcoming in the team bus and give De Zerbi a hell of a welcome in the first home game against Brighton. You just can't make up these stories somehow. These things always seem to kind of work out in these kind of ways, where his first home game is going to be against his former club, Brighton. But how many wins realistically do you think he's going to need, and how many do you think he'll get from now to the end of the season?
I think to be sure of it, you're going to need 3 wins probably out of 7. I think that I'm pretty confident 3 wins should keep you up. I think
3 wins with some draws sprinkled in, or just 3 wins?
3 wins, at the bare minimum 3 wins. It might not be enough, but I think that gives you the best opportunity. I think if you get 12 points, you're pretty much safe, I would say, at this point. 10 points, I would say you're 80% chance of being safe. 9 points, probably around 65% chance, I would say, of being safe.
Yeah.
If you get 6 points, maybe you got a 55% chance of being safe. Anything less than that, it's under 50% of being safe. So you probably need 3 wins to be pretty sure of it.
Yeah.
So I think he's got the fixtures and he's got the talent to do it. Does he have the players to do it? That's obviously a big question mark. How he approaches his last 7 games is anyone's guess about how he tries to navigate it with the kind of tactics that he's going to deploy. And what kind of team, if he does deploy full De Zerbi ball, what kind of teams is that better against? Because I know De Zerbi ball was always better against teams that attack you and come out and play against you, rather than teams that kind of sit back and low block. So in theory, a team like Sunderland would probably sit back a bit more, but maybe a team like Brighton are going to come at you. So you may be thinking Brighton at home is a perfect fixture for him, but then Sunderland away is going to be a very difficult one.
Yeah.
But then has he learned from some of the mistakes he made at Brighton? And I mean, Marseille was a bit different, but definitely at Brighton, I think he implemented some styles of play, but I think he developed them at Marseille. So maybe a team like Sunderland, who are going to just sit back against us and let us play, maybe that could work more in our favour than we think. It's going to be very, very interesting. But I think for sure there are enough games there where you look at the fixtures and think, in terms of the fixtures we have, there are enough winnable games to say he's got the fixtures to keep us up. He's just got to be able to get the performances out there.
I think it's, we're always trying to cling on to the next bit of Spurs positivity, and I'm excited. I am excited, and I know I might not be excited in 7 games' time. We could be relegated, but like I said before, I do think, he'll bring a certain style of play which the Spurs fans will want to see. He'll bring some excitement back to the stadium, and hopefully he can get us those wins from now to the end of the season to keep us in the league. And I think he can do it. I really think he can do it. I think we've given ourselves, if I'm saying the story starts today, at this point, we've given ourselves with a better opportunity than we had yesterday of staying up. And that's all I can ask for right now. We can talk about the failures of Enoch, and we can talk about, how poor they've been all season and the decisions have put us in this situation. I'm not disputing that. But I'm talking about, as of starting from today, hiring De Zerbi to having Igor Tudor, it's given us a much better chance of staying up, in my opinion.
Yeah, the only obviously thing other thing is the fact that his appointment has been so divisive, how that affects the wanted unity that we want in this kind of stage going into the relegation fight. Obviously, you could argue we had unity for that Forest game and it didn't exactly work, did it? So that's not the number one problem at the moment. But when you're in a relegation fight, you need everyone to sit together. You need no toxicity. You need unity within the fan base, and is this the kind of appointment that does that?
There won't be toxicity in the stadium. I really don't believe there will. I think the number one priority for everyone is for Spurs to stay in the Premier League. I really believe that. And, you know, there can be noise on social media, there'll be noise around and stuff like that. But I think the majority are going to get behind the team and try and cheer them over the finish line. You know? I think people's biggest fear right now is getting relegated. And we all just need to band together, no matter what your feelings are on anything, and just cheer Spurs over that finish line, and hopefully Spurs can beat this thing, and we can all do it together. Yeah. And look, I get what you're saying. You know, we all did it against Nottingham Forest. It didn't work in our favour. But Everton, you know, just look at them a couple of years back. They tried to do it. They lined the streets, crazy atmosphere. They lost 4-1. Did it stop them? No, they carried on doing it, and they ended up beating the thing. So that's what we need to do. We can't stop just because, you know, we lined the streets, we got clowned on and everything like that, and we lost the game. That doesn't mean we stop. It means we carry on, we keep backing the team, we keep sticking together. We're stronger together, and hopefully we'll beat it if we keep sticking together.
Do you think De Zerbi comes into the job, though, immediately under pressure because of the divisive nature of his appointment?
I think regardless of the divisive nature of his appointment, he comes into the job under pressure regardless because of where we are. You know, you can't come into a job 7 games to go 1 point off the drop and not be under pressure. Regardless of the nature of his comments or whatever has happened in the past. Yeah, that maybe add a bit of pressure under it. But I think the nature of his comments and everything like that, it won't matter where we are in the league. You know, people, if you're feeling that way about the comments or whatever, you're going to hold it against him. If we're sitting top of the league, middle of the league, fighting relegation. But I do think when it comes to kickoff and when the team are out on the pitch, every fan in that stadium will be supporting the team. You know, regardless of anything. Yeah. In my opinion.
Yeah, I think you're right about that. It's going to be a roller coaster. It'll be interesting to see what kind of things he comes out with in press conferences and on the touchline. And he's a kind of a guy you never know what he's going to do. It seems, and it's going to be a very. I think everyone's going to be, you know, watching, especially opposition fans will be watching this with popcorn out 100%. And ready for it to all blow up, and it will blow up at some stage. But you know what? One thing you definitely would say about what you will say, you know, especially when it was Tottenham under Ange, you would say whatever you want to say about Tottenham ain't boring, you know, whether we're losing, winning, whatever. I think this season there are definitely times where Tottenham was very, very boring, and we were losing as well. But you know, everyone lost interest. No one really cared. It would just become so irrelevant. I think the one thing we know under Zerbi is it won't be boring.
No, definitely won't be.
Office.
On and off the pitch.
On and off the pitch. It's going to be. Yeah.
What I don't really know what his press conferences are like. What are his press conferences like? What's he like?
He says what he feels. You know, it's going to be. I think that you know you can see from our YouTube views on press conferences. Like when Ange was here, way up, everyone loved watching his press conferences. Then Frank came in and no one cared about them, and everyone was like, "Well, no, people stopped watching them. They're so boring."
I stopped watching them. To be fair, I couldn't stand his press conferences.
I think De Zerbi, you watch. I think the numbers are going to shoot up again because he's a very interesting talker. He says what he thinks and he doesn't hold anything back. So he could have. I mean, I think we're all expecting at one point he's probably going to have a Conte moment. But until then, he's going to have a few interesting things to say, I think.
And look, like when we hired Conte, there was a narrative about Conte that he always blows up and it's going to end in tears. And obviously, ultimately did. But for the initial time when Conte first came here, it was brilliant from that point till the end of the season. Obviously, he had a lot longer to implement his ideas, but we got that new manager bounce and we were actually brilliant from the time he took over up until the end of the season, ended up getting us to top 4.
Yeah.
So hopefully De Zerbi can have that kind of initial bounce because we're bloody hell going to need it.
More news coming out. Sammy Mockbell reports that there is no relegation clause in De Zerbi's contract.
That's nuts. That's absolutely nuts, is it not?
Tottenham, he says exclusive, Tottenham complete move for De Zerbi with no relegation clause. Deal signed and announcement pending. 5-year contract for the Italian. I'm guessing we could get an announcement today then at some point.
So if there's no relegation clause, if we get relegated, is he open to staying with us in the Championship? Because if he walks out and he resigns, he won't get paid out.
Yeah.
He only gets paid out if we sack him. And obviously,
Exactly.
if we go down, we got no need to sack him. You know, we can have Zerbi in the Championship. That'd be great.
Maybe he is open to staying in the Championship. Maybe he gets like reduced wages or something, or maybe not, because God, who knows?
Zerbi in the Championship would be mad. Would that not be mad? He would destroy that league.
Oh, look at this. Back in Zerbi's first summer, Brighton had a deal agreed for Kudus.
Oh, right.
There
And
you
what,
go.
he went to West Ham
He
instead?
ended up going to West Ham.
Kudus.
Key Zerbi target, they called him.
Wow.
Well, look at that. There's one player there already that Zerbi would like to manage. And he's back for his first game, I think, hopefully. That's
Yeah,
the
I don't know if he'll
rumours.
be able to start, but maybe he can. He's been out for such a long time.
Yeah,
We haven't even seen him on the grass or anything, Kudus.
true.
So
We've
it's,
still got a while, though, to the next game.
yeah, true. I think, like, as well, when you're looking at how he implemented Billy Gilmore, and he loved Billy Gilmore
Yeah.
at Brighton, I think he'll love Archie Gray.
100%. I think Gray he'll like. I think Sarr. I think definitely he's like that kind of profile of player. I think Romero. I think Romero will be tailor-made
Yeah.
for Zerbi ball, for
Yeah.
sure. I think just a big question mark is how he gets the best out of a lot of the attacking players. But I look at a lot of the attacking
Someone
players.
says, come on, Bergvall as well.
Bergvall, 100%. I think the way he likes his players to carry the ball. I think he's as much as the thing is with Zerbi, he likes to exploit players running in space a lot more. As much as he's a possession-based manager, it's not about tiki-taka in a Barca style, like where they could just open you up at any moment. It's more about manipulating the pitch to open gaps so players can run into. And we have a lot of runners in our team. We're very good at carrying the ball. We're not very good at passing the ball. But I think if he creates those short passages of play and gets the players to run into the spaces, I think our players could be ready for that. I think Kudus will thrive. I think Xavi. Ben who? What?
Sorry,
Oh.
switch cameras.
I think Xavi could thrive because I think players like Buonanotte, Enciso, Lallana did quite well under him for Brighton, and they played some of their best football under him. So I think they play a very similar role to what Xavi does, in my opinion. So I think he could do very well. I think he liked in the back three. He liked like Van Hecker and Dunk, or maybe or Webster. And I think Van der Ven and Romero could very much kind of do that role. And I think Porro as well, very technical fullback. I think he'll like Porro.
Well, he liked his right back to come into the centre of the park, you know, maybe not as extreme as like Ange did it, where he was basically a number 10, but maybe more in the central areas of the midfield. And I think that could suit Porro.
Yeah, I think Porro for sure. Yeah, I think a lot of players are looking at it. The thing is, it's all well and good saying this, but it's about how quickly you can implement all this kind of stuff and whether there's going to be a period of struggle before they get going. But I think a lot of the players, I think the players will be very excited about this because they've been.
And that's what we need.
Yeah.
We need to instill a bit of excitement in this
Yeah.
squad right now because they've just been so like devoid of confidence. They've been devoid of ideas. They've been just so bored on the football pitch. They've not believed in anything that they've done for so long. So they need to De Zerbi needs to get a bit of belief into that dressing room again.
Exactly. And I think as much as people say you're in a relegation fight, you need these certain things to stay up. Like, when was the last time these firefighters ever came in and actually kept teams up? I can't remember. Isn't that a thing of 10 years ago now? I think it might be a bit outdated, that kind of firefighter role. I don't know if it's still like a viable thing, because how many in recent years I feel like a lot of teams have sat their managers and brought in a firefighter. It hasn't really
But also, like the teams that are usually bringing in those kind of firefighters are team with not too much quality. The teams that are like, you know, destined to be kind of battling for relegation. You bring in your Sam Allardyces, your Sean Dyches, all that kind of stuff. Spurs actually have a decent squad, you know, more decent than being in a relegation battle. We should be in a top half minimum. So to bring in a manager that can actually play a bit of football will suit our squad more than to bring in the firefighter style kind of manager.
Yeah. I think so, and I think that for me, since that for me in the last year has been the main thing which has got us in this position. It's the buy-in from the players. I don't think they bought into Thomas Frank. I don't think that, obviously the injuries has been a massive thing as well, but they haven't really taken to the way he wants to play football. Igor Tudor, I think obviously he didn't have long anyway, but I think for me, you get these players excited again. You get these players wanting to get on the pitch and play their football again. You get them full of ideas, get them playing with intensity, get them playing it's with attacking intent again. And I think you'll see the confidence grow in these players. I really think you'll see it grow. Understandably, right now, we've still got a lot of injuries. With very long confidence, all this kind of stuff. So that make him. Who knows if that's going to change straight away, or that might take time. But I think someone like Zerbi, him coming in, with his style of play, I think these players are really going to enjoy it. And I think most importantly as well, the fans will start to enjoy it as well.
And I think that's half the battle if the players start to enjoy it. I mean, more than half the battle, because we know that these players have quality. They just haven't been showing it because of various different situations and various different things. But if Zerbi can come in straight away and get them enjoying training, get them enjoying playing on the pitch, then we'll see results. We'll see results. So that's all we need right now. And it's mad to me that there's no relegation release clause. So that means if we do go down,
you have to pay him out, or he won't.
No, we won't have to pay him out because we're not going to sack him. He's going to be our manager, or he walks out.
Well, we might have to sack him if he throws his toys out the pram.
He's at this moment in time, if we don't talk about throwing his toys out the pram, is he really going to do that?
Wait, so who does it benefit more? The fact there's no relegation clause.
I think it benefits us more.
Benefits us more. But you could be forcing a manager to stay who doesn't want to be here.
I mean, he could have easily fought to have it in his contract.
Yeah, maybe he did, and we didn't agree to it. Which maybe there was a bit of negotiating from Tottenham. Who knows? Did we negotiate?
Right at this moment in time, he's contractually obliged to be our manager in the Championship if we go down.
Correct.
Which is crazy.
Which is mad to think, considering he didn't want to join unless we were in the Premier League.
Yeah.
And now there's no relegation clause. I mean, yeah, but it also means we're stuck with him if he's because there could be a situation where he didn't keep us up, and then he doesn't want to really be here. And then we have a relegation clause. Okay, let's just go our separate ways. We don't have to pay you out the full amount. Let's just go our separate ways. And, we'll find a manager who wants to be with us in the Championship. I think that kind of could have benefited us in a way. But now it's like, if we get relegated and he starts, doing X, Y, and Z to get out, we're kind of forced to... Aren't we forced to pay him out at this point? Like, a big amount? Like, I think that doesn't play into our hands in a way.
If we sack him, yeah. Then we're obliged to pay him 5 years.
I'm saying part of my thinking is it could be within our interest to have a relegation clause as well. Yeah. Rather than not. So I don't know if it's a good thing for us necessarily. I understand it also means he's got he's also stuck with us if we dig our heels in if he does want to leave and stuff. He has to be here. But I kind of feel like I still think it benefits him.
Well, yeah, you might be right there. I see that way of thinking for sure. But do you think obviously he doesn't plan to blow up?
No, of course not.
And he knows that there's still a big chance that Spurs get relegated.
12 million a season. Some people are saying, bloody hell.
So 12 million a season.
Frank was on 8. Conte was 15. So it's a bit in the middle.
Bloody hell. 12 million a season.
It's only his third to Pep and Arteta.
So 60 million. 60 million if we sack him in the summer.
Plus, aren't we giving him a 15 million, supposedly a bonus or something?
Yeah. Wow. 75 million.
God, this
could cost that. 75 million. That is nuts.
Getting to relegation numbers. It's getting close.
Jesus.
Getting close. You better keep us up. Yeah, 75 million. Potentially. If it is true about all these bonuses and stuff. It's a hell of a contract. The 5-year deal is just nuts. It is nuts.
But what I'm saying is that Zerbi, they must have given him the talk of talks in terms of what they'll give him how they see the future under him, the money that they're going to give him in the transfer market. He probably didn't see Vinay's comments the other day being like, you know what, we need to manage our finances and all this kind of stuff.
Is this what managing our finances looks like? Giving this manager this deal. Unbelievable.
But I mean, De Zerbi obviously sees something here that he can work under. Obviously, many managers have done that before and seen something they can work with. But
I mean, I'd like to believe that, but then again, the reality is he's probably just here because there's a number of zeros on that check, and that's it.
Yeah.
And maybe we weren't prepared to offer for the right amount, and now we are because we're that desperate. Is that why he's here? Does he actually want to be here, or he's only here because we've put up just such a ridiculous offer he can't
refuse? We've given him an offer he can't refuse.
We've given an offer, exactly, which is not a great position to be in as a fan. But hopefully he grows to, once he's in here, hopefully he grows to want to be part of this and he can find his home here. But the chances of that happening seem slim.
Yeah. As someone said it here, Saz says, their payment is because of all these years of neglect.
Absolutely.
They reap what they sow. ENIC reap what they sow. They've had to pay this guy so much money because of the countless amount of years of absolute garbage that they've conducted at this football club, and particularly this year. You know, it's unforgivable where we are right now. And even putting their money where their mouth is right now and getting a manager in 7 games left of the season, it's still unforgivable. Like, this does nothing to tell us where... if they're fit enough to run this football club. Like, Vinay still has to go. Lange still has to go. Like, these guys are absolute criminals.
Yeah, I think the fact that we're forced to give a manager like De Zerbi this contract should smack of incompetence from the hierarchy that we're in this position. Like, as much as I think De Zerbi's a good manager, and I think there could be... I could see something with him for sure, and I think I'm happy we have him now. The fact that the situation where we've got him is quite frankly ludicrous.
Yeah.
And I think the fact that we've had to shell out a potentially 75 million for him is beyond a joke. And I think for me, what do you call it? Lange and Vinay, they have to be held accountable. I think the hierarchy should hold them accountable for the fact that kind of money has to be spent on a manager, because it should never have been the case. The fact we have to offer this ridiculous deal is on the heads of Vinay and Lange, 100%. So they shouldn't. I don't think they deserve any credit for getting this over the line.
I hope one of the promises made to De Zerbi that these guys are going to be gone in the summer.
I hope so.
I really hope so. But
I think the reality is they probably negotiated the deal, so I don't think that was a promise.
Yeah, who knows, man? Who knows? But
I'd assume they
let's hope so.
it.
We can only pray, eh? We can only pray. But it looks positive. Positive. I'm starting to get excited about the prospect of seeing Tottenham. It's still a while away to our next game, Sunderland away in 2 weeks' time.
One thing as well, I'm pretty sure he's going to do. He's definitely going to be riling up opposition fans, I think, when we play, and the way he conducts himself on the sidelines and stuff. Good. I can see him rubbing a lot of opposition fans the wrong way.
Yeah, and he's going to butting heads with a lot of opposition managers as well.
Yeah. He's already been sent off at Tottenham Stadium once.
Yeah, with Stellini, yeah. Well, that day, Brighton did get robbed.
They did, absolutely. Oh, my God. That was ridiculous that day.
But look, that is it. De Zerbi to Tottenham. Here we go. Only what's left is the official announcement. Do you think we get it today or tomorrow?
I've got a feeling we get it today. They don't want to do it on April Fool's Day, do they? Surely not.
Oh, God. Well, we'll have to wait and see. Let us know in the comment section.
Announcement imminent, so I'm assuming that means today.
All right. Well, we'll wait and see, people. We'll wait and see. But that is the situation with Roberto De Zerbi to Tottenham. We've got those 3 words. Here we go. He is going to be the next Tottenham manager. For how long, we don't know. But definitely for the next 7 games. That's for sure.
Well, you can't even say that for sure.
No, I think we could safely say.
Can you?
Yeah.
Or if you lose the next 4, is he? You know what I mean?
Can you imagine?
You can't say that.
Can you imagine if they sack him in 4 games?
And bring a Redknapp for 3 in his last 3. All right, Harry. Okay, we'll do it.
Oh my days, that's hilarious, man.
Nothing is for sure with this football club. You should know that by now.
Yeah, true. A couple of super chats to get into. Let's see, where's the last one? So Southeast Koi is saying, conflicted. Yeah, the appointment is our best chance of staying up. But all I can think about is how Real Madrid's swooping for Pochettino. And on that Pochettino thing, by the way, Poch yesterday, I think he mentioned, or a journalist mentioned on Pochettino saying that he's open now to signing a new contract with the US.
He did say that.
Yeah, I think that is like...
I don't think he will. I think he's just saying it.
Maybe, but like he'd never kind of said anything like that before. And by the way, that was on the eve of them losing 5-2 to Belgium.
Yeah.
But is it a coincidence that the Spurs job is gone now?
Maybe it's kind of like he's hearing the Zerbi stuff, and maybe he's like now trying to kind of because I think he was definitely eyeing up that Tottenham job, and now it's gone for the time being anyway. Maybe he's kind of keeping his he wants eggs in a few baskets kind of thing.
Yeah. But, you know, he
Keeping
probably
his options
takes a new contract with the US knowing that Zerbi can blow up at any time.
Yeah, true.
Wibbers says, anyone willing to start a sweepstake on when RDM will have his first press conference tantrum? I think he meant RDZ.
Wait, what?
Probably as he's saying when is he gonna have his first conference meltdown? Press conference meltdown.
Probably on day one. Probably.
Malware said people called Zerbi unhinged, and then he went and signed a 5-year deal with Spurs. If that's not madness, I don't know what is. But I fully believe in him.
Well, you've got to be unhinged to come to Tottenham right now.
Well, he's getting paid very handsomely to do so.
He is. I mean, it's quite something. You'd be unhinged to reject that deal, I guess, from that point of view.
Molo_29 saying, surprised Zerbi hadn't signed for Arsenal today. What's that all about?
I don't know what that means.
Wibbers says, if we get relegated, we'll certainly deserve it.
Very good, Wibbers.
And Malware says, if Zerbi actually keeps Spurs up, you don't just back him, you hand him the keys to the stadium and rename it the Roberto Dome. Yeah.
He's our saviour if he keeps us up. No relegation clause. It's gonna be a wild ride, but I want to field something again with Tottenham, and maybe Zerbi can make me feel that, especially with the football he plays. I think my Highlines are back.
You'll definitely feel something. That's for sure.
Highlines are back in fashion now. Tottenham are gonna attack again. We're gonna dare again. We're gonna be brave again.
Another super chat here saying, when we go down, Zerbi out, here we go again.
Yeah. Look, he ain't getting...
If we go down, are you going to want Zerbi out? I mean, Zerbi in the Championship, surely. Like, we win that league with Zerbi.
Yeah, sure. I wouldn't want him gone. I might as well keep him. Will Zerbi be manager of Tottenham in 2027?
2027. I'm going to say yes.
All right, 2028.
That's a tall order. I don't know. I don't know if he will be manager in 2028.
What do you reckon, chat? Will he be manager of Tottenham in 2028? The idea of Zerbi just being happy and content at Tottenham for any period longer than a year just seems so fanciful.
Look, everything points to this being an absolute disaster. But maybe something else can happen here. What's he said on Ange?
He said, I like him so much. When he speaks in press conferences or interviews, I like him a lot. They play great football. I love their style in terms of personality on the pitch. They are one of the best teams at the moment. That was December 23.
That was in our first 10 games.
I think just after.
No, December 23.
All right, he's got me on board. Come on.
He just had to whisper in Sim's ear sweet nothingness about Ange Postecoglou, and Sim is fully
All he has
on
to
board.
say at his press conference is, we are bringing back Ange Ball. That's all he has to say, and I'll be fully bought into the Zerbi.
Oh, God. All right, let's get back into it. Let's start again. Let's go and see how De Zerbi can potentially line up as Tottenham manager. Now we have got the here we go. Let's see. He usually likes playing a 4-3-3, 4-2-3-1. I do think we've got players that will like playing on De Zerbi, that can suit the way De Zerbi likes to play. So let's go and have a look into it on the tactics board. You're going to have to redo it.
No.
All right, let's bring it up.
All right, so where were we? So he likes to play like this 4-2-3-1 kind of formation. Most of it, he has played a number of different formations across his career. He's not really wedded to one. In fact, I was looking at his time at Brighton, and everyone says he didn't win his first 5 games or 4 games at Brighton. He actually started with a back 3 at Brighton, and then after 4 games he moved to a back 4.
Oh, right.
And then it started going well, and he won 3 in a row, and it kind of did all right from there on. So definitely, I think at Sassuolo he played a back 3 quite a lot. Brighton, mostly a back 4, but sometimes a back 3. At Marseille, it's mostly been a back 4, but sometimes a back 3 as well. So he's definitely chopped and changed. The most important thing for him is kind of this everyone kind of in possession, getting close to each other. He likes to bait the press. He likes his centre backs to drop a bit deeper. He likes his midfielders to get close, and then he even likes an attacker to show. And a lot of the time, you'll see the ball played from the defender to an attacker that drops deep to lay it off to an on-running midfielder who will drive into the space. And that's a lot of kind of how he plays and how he creates these triangles. He definitely likes his wingers to be high and wide and fast. He definitely likes that. But he has been known as well. He's played Welbeck on the wing quite a lot. He's played João Pedro on the wing. Usually one on the touchline and one can be tucked inside a bit, but depending on which side. Matoma, obviously, he was a big favourite of his on that left-hand side. But he's also played Adingra there. Ansu Fati was part of his winger options he liked. So it depends, because sometimes he plays a 3-5-2, and then he likes his wingers to be a bit more tucked inside. A lot of the time, you'll see in possession as well, it'll go to like a 3 like that, like this 3, and then this wing back will push up. This guy is tucked inside like that. And so it'll be like a 3-2-5 in possession. And he's also been known when it's really attacking against a low block, he'll actually push a midfielder there, and it'll be a 3-1-6. He's done that as well.
Thomas Frank would never.
Super attacking. He definitely just likes to have those options, and he likes to have these runners bursting into the space here.
If you pause it there, right? Thomas Frank would be flip the pitch around.
Yeah, flip around.
Frank.
Exactly. He's also. I remember when we played them. He actually played with 2 strikers in a kind of a 4-4-2 formation. So he's not afraid to change up. He's very smart tactically. He will change things tactically to suit to play against the opposition, similar to what Frank would do. But I feel like the difference between him and Frank is Frank would adjust his tactics to stop the opposition, whereas Zerbi would adapt his tactics to hurt the opposition.
I saw a lot of stats that backed that up. I think it was specifically for his time in Marseille, where a lot of goals came just after the break or in that period of 45 to 70, around that period where he's got them in at half time and he's made a few tactical tweaks, where he's seen a few flaws in the opposition, where he's able to tactically get the edge over his opposition.
Yeah, exactly. So I think he's much more of a positive thinker in that sense. He's always looking to win. He's always looking to attack. He's always looking at where can we attack, where can we hurt. Whereas I feel like Frank was like, how can we stop this? How can we stop that? How do we... It's all more... Whereas Frank's more about off the ball, Zerbi's more about on the ball kind of changes, which I prefer.
In terms of what he wants from a number 9, is it going to be Solanke, Richarlison and Muani who's going to be his preferred number 9, do you reckon?
Well, I think the number 9s he used to use, he's used Welbeck, João Pedro.
João Pedro scored the most goals for him.
Yeah, he liked João Pedro. He also liked Welbeck a lot as well. Welbeck did quite well under him. So Welbeck and I feel like Muani are quite similar in their kind of profile. Don't think we have really a João Pedro profile, really. He's more of like a false 9-ish kind of striker. Yeah. He's never really had a Solanke type. I think he'll really like Solanke because Solanke is quite mobile. He's very strong and he brings other players into play. Albeit, he likes to play the ball on the ground a lot. He's not a manager who I don't know how many headed goals Brighton would score when he was their manager. So from that point of view, he liked to play a technical striker as well. He sometimes played Trossard up front in the false 9. João Pedro's very technical. We don't really have a technical number 9. That's the thing. So I don't know who would fit that role best. Maybe it's Richarlison. Maybe it's Solanke. Maybe it's Muani. I'm not really sure. Tell maybe. Yeah, Tell. Maybe Tell could find a home in the number 9, but we don't really have a left winger. We have to play him out wide at the moment. So I think Solanke will probably get the preference because of his mobility and his strength, but yeah, he mixed the match in the number 9 position. I think Pedro was his preferred. I also think Xavi will thrive. He definitely liked having a number 10 in there all the time, whether it be Lallana, Buonanotte, Enciso. He definitely liked a very technical number 9, but somewhat all those number 9s were not like lock-picking number 9s. They were definitely number 9s who liked to get on the ball and drag players out of position and dribble. That was definitely their kind of fortes, and that's what Xavi's good at. So he's used to playing with players like Xavi. He knows how to get the best out of players like Xavi. I think the thing is with Xavi, which is frustrating, but he's also very good at, I think his best attributes are getting on the ball, committing players, getting past players. I think where he breaks down is where he gets the ball and you're asking him to pick the lock or thread the eye of the needle. You know, he gives the ball away a lot in those situations, but he's very good at getting on the ball and committing players. And I think in tight spaces as well. And I think De Zerbi knows a lot about getting the best out of those kind of players. Definitely with his experience with Matoma, I think Kudus could, use that, because Kudus is quite a two-way winger. He likes to go on the outside or the inside as well. So I think he knows how he played Matoma. The most interesting thing is what he'll do with his midfield.
I think when you're looking at that 3-man midfield, I think he would like a Bergvall over a Sarr.
But I think, could you compare Sarr to like Baleba or Caicedo, how they used to play? But I think they were a bit more technical.
That's the thing, yeah.
Right, so Bergvall's quite technical. I actually think I agree. I kind of feel like he'll want Basuma in there. Actually, he definitely Gray. I could see he liked. Well, he played his fullbacks very interestingly, depending on the opposition. He had Gross sometimes at fullback, Hinchelwood sometimes at fullback, Veltman.
Yeah.
And they're all quite similar to Gray, I feel, a lot of the time, all those kind of players, how they kind of play. I think Gross is maybe more similar to Porro.
Did Caicedo ever play fullback?
Caicedo played there sometimes, but I feel like his fullbacks were a lot of the times midfielders.
Yeah,
because he liked to play technical. He liked them to come inside, and he liked them to tuck inside and knit the play together. So, but I feel like the way Gross plays is quite similar to Porro in his technical ability. I feel like Hinchelwood and Gray are quite similar. Veltman, he's kind of like a centre-back who played out wide. I wouldn't say similar to Dragoshin or Danso, though. I think he profiles quite similarly to Gray in a way. So I wonder what he'll do to fullbacks. Will he bring a midfielder? Will he play Gray there? Will he bring a midfielder there? Or will he just go Porro and a doggy?
I think to start off with, he'll go for Porro and a doggy because they are like good quality.
I think he'll like Basuma because Basuma is quite comfortable being pressed. I think he's probably...
Do you think there's a chance of Basuma getting another contract?
Maybe. I think Basuma will be the most suited to how he wants to play because he's probably, out of all our midfielders, I would say he's the most comfortable with his back to goal. And he's most comfortable with receiving the ball with a player behind him. I think out of all our midfielders, he's the most comfortable. And De Zerbi demands that. Like, that is a big thing for him. Like, you watch him play, you watch the midfielders play, that's all about coming towards the ball, playing a little layoff and turning, or even finding an opportunity to receive the ball and spin away from someone. I think Basuma's perfect for that. So I wonder if Basuma will get the nod. Will we see something? I wouldn't be surprised maybe if... Does Gray come in? I don't know. He's not going to drop Porro though, is he?
The thing is, right, in big games this season, particularly for Marseille, and probably showed this at Brighton as well, extremely tactically flexible in the big games, where against PSG in the French Super Cup, he went for a 3-4-3 with 3 at the back. And against Newcastle, when they beat them 2-1 in the Champions League, he went through a 3-5-2.
Yeah.
So, I mean, he is, shows a variation of different kind of formations. So it's not like, other managers where we've had it's just like been specifically this formation. We're going to go for this every game. We don't know how De Zerbi is going to treat these games. Is he going to treat them as like these massive games where, he's going to want a third centre-back in there?
Yeah, it all kind of depends. Obviously, you could argue whether he's been better recently with a back 3 or a back 4. He's going to have to make that determination, isn't he? He's got so much to sort out. That's obviously part of the reason why there's reservations. He's got to come in, assess what the players are best at, what the best formation for them is, where their best position is. And he's kind of what I like about De Zerbi, he thinks outside the box all the time. So he'll play a midfielder on the wing. At fullback. He'll play a winger in different position in midfield. He'll play a striker out wide. He doesn't think of set positions a lot of the time. A lot of the time he plays players in very different positions. He's played for certain oppositions. He's played a midfield 2 of McAllister or Caicedo, very physical, but also decent technically. And he's also played a midfield 2 of Gilmore and Gross. Of just two technicians, not necessarily the most physical. So he's very adaptable in terms of how he adjusts his tactics. One big question as well with how he plays from the back is probably the bravest you've seen anything. Is Vicario... Will he want Vicario there? Is he going to think about Kinski? We know Kinski got tried and failed or whatever. He's known to change his goalkeepers. De Zerbi. He's known. He had Steele and he had Verbruggen and who else he have? I can't remember who else he had, but
Sanchez, no?
Sanchez, that's it. Sanchez, and he would switch them, and for long periods as well. Steele would be in for 10 games and Sanchez would be in for 10 games, whatever. So obviously Kinski, in theory, not that it proved in Atletico, is the most adept with the ball at his feet. We know that, and that's a big. The difference between, I think, between let's say, De Zerbi and Ange, is Ange would ask his keepers to do very simple things. Like, they would be involved in build-up, but only to literally play a little short pass to the fullback or whatever. At Brighton, De Zerbi literally wants them as like an outfielder. He literally wants them to bait the press and then play around the attacker and exploit the space. It's not literally... Vicario's was literally to just get the ball and quickly release it to a centre-back. De Zerbi literally wants them as literally like their outfielder.
But the thing is, at Brighton, he had the keepers to do that,
Yeah, well, you say that before he joined, they weren't seen as that. Like, Steele wasn't seen as this ball-playing keeper, but he developed into it.
Yeah, but what I'm saying is that if he feels that Vicario can't do it, I really hope that he doesn't force him to do that from the off and maybe adapts just a little bit in that sense just for these 7 games, because we just need to get results.
I do wonder, if Kinski will come in or not. But again, is he ready for it? I don't think I would assume from game one, no, but you never know. I think he's brave enough to do Kinski from the start. I think so. I think some players will not like playing under him.
I think this ends Paulinho at Spurs.
Yeah, Paulinho ain't joining permanently for sure. I don't think he's going to like Paulinho. I think he's got so little technical ability. I think he's not going to fancy having Paulinho on the team. I think Gallagher might be in a bit of trouble, to be honest.
He's only just joined.
I know, but I'm looking at the midfielders that he used to play with, and none of them are very similar to Gallagher. Maybe you could say Højbjerg. He did like Højbjerg, to be fair. But I think even Højbjerg's got a better passing range than Gallagher. So, I don't know. I think, obviously, Maddison and Decky, if they come back, they will love playing under him.
But also, you got to look at as well, like, he's going to try to get the best out of what he has. And I think that's what he did at Brighton and that's what he did at Marseille. It's like, just because he didn't have those certain profiles at Marseille and at Brighton, it doesn't mean that he can't get the best out of certain profiles at Tottenham.
No, that's 100% right. 100% right. I think new clubs, new issues, as I've said, he thinks outside the box a lot. I think, as much as he's stubborn in his principles and kind of how he likes to play, he's also very adaptable in getting different things out of different players as well. He's a very smart manager. He's very good tactically.
And it's a good point, by the way, that someone makes in the comments regarding Kinski, because Kinski will probably have to play the first game anyway.
Potentially, yeah.
Because of Vicario's surgery in his hernia. So it could give an opportunity to Kinski. Well, if you're going to play De Zerbi's first game, if he impresses, he could keep the shirt.
Yeah, true. Very, very true. Very true. I do wonder. I feel like a doggy might be in trouble, because I feel like he likes his fullbacks to be quite technical, and a doggy is very physical, but technically he's not.
What about Spence then?
No, but Spence is quite good technically, I feel. He's much better with like his close control and keeping possession than a doggy.
But I feel like a doggy's better in the final third than
he's better getting to the final third. But I don't think he needs his fullbacks to get to the final third too much. He likes his fullbacks to be inverted a bit and more based around keeping possession rather than like getting to the final third and creating chances.
He uses a lot of like wingers as wing backs.
He has done. Well, he's done definitely Gross. He's used there a lot.
Well, in this lineup that I'm looking at, Marseille against Newcastle when they won 2-1, his two wing backs were Igor Paxal, who's a forward, and Timothy Weah, who's a midfielder.
But that's playing a back three.
Yeah.
Yeah, so if he plays a back three, then I think a doggy would be much more of use, yeah.
A doggy or even a Tell could play it.
Potentially, yeah. It's going to be very interesting to see how he profiles different players, getting a new... Because I feel like for the last year, we've had someone like Frank profiling his players in his very like regimented, like pragmatic style, and how he sees his players fitting into his pragmatic way of playing. Whereas I'd love to see someone who can unlock these players on the ball from an attacking point of view and how he can get the best out of them, get them creating chances, get them opening up the opposition, how they profile in that way. So I think a new set of eyes on these players is going to be much to the benefit of a lot of them.
I'm even looking at this lineup against Liverpool this year in the Champions League. He played 4-4-2.
Yeah, so he changes it a lot.
He changes it a lot, and I'm just looking at random games from De Zerbi this year for Marseille. I haven't seen one 4-2-3-1 yet.
For Marseille?
Yeah.
He did play a 4-2-3-1 mainly, though.
I'm looking at a lot of three at the backs here. I think mainly this season he's been using three at the back.
But if you look at his season at Brighton, it was mainly 4-2-3-1.
Yeah, I'm just talking about Marseille this season.
Well, he did, yeah. I mean, he's very adaptable.
Here we go. I found a 4-2-3-1 against Lille, where he's used Timothy Weah and Emerson Palmieri as fullbacks.
Emerson. Yeah, Timothy Weah is more of a winger, obviously.
Yeah.
Or by trade, anyway. What do you think his first lineup's going to be? What is his first lineup going to be?
Was he going to play Sunderland, who are going to sit back, who are going to frustrate? So I do think we go back four.
Back four?
I think we go back four against Sunderland because you know, they'll happily give us the possession and it'll be on us to break them down. I think that's the way the game is probably going to go, isn't it?
Mm-hmm.
So I think it'll be Romero, Van de Ven, Porro, and a doggy if he's fit. He should be fit.
With Kinski in goal.
Yeah, Kinski in goal. I think in mid...
Sumanama might not be fit, would he?
No, I think it'll be Gray Bergval.
Gray and Bergval.
I think, yeah, but it won't be Kudus on the right because I don't think he'll be fit enough to start. So who can play on the right?
Moani.
Yeah.
He has played kind of well back out wide. Very similar kind of profile.
Yeah, maybe a Moani. I think it'll be something like that.
Well, we don't have... Bentancur could be fit, by the way.
The thing is, these guys, they might be fit, but they're not going to be fit enough to start.
You never know.
Yeah, you do never know, but I just don't think they will be. They've been out for so long.
And then up front, probably Solanke.
Yeah.
I think he'll like Rishi, though. I actually think he'll like Richarlison. But yeah, I think Solanke. I think obviously Solanke's a bit more technical as well. And then you're like looking at a more like in possession, something like a doggy pushed up probably Porro tucked in. Well, maybe Porro the one pushing up and the doggy tucked in. Something like that. That'll be kind of what you see probably when we're in possession.
I agree with you with the doggy tucked in and Porro pushed up.
You reckon the other way?
Yeah, I do think it'll be the other way. Well, Porro, the good thing about Porro is that he can do either role. He can tuck in easily, but I think you'll probably get the best out of him showing his quality.
Like this.
Yeah.
But I think, although part of the reason maybe you do want a doggy as one pushed up is Porro's better in the build-up phase.
True.
Better than the doggy there.
Yeah, that's
on the
also
ball.
true.
And the doggy's probably maybe better at getting to the byline potentially. We're doing it like that. But it could be either way. And then you'll see these players coming short. And then you'll see those spaces opening up and running into the space. It's going to be very interesting.
Can we get a result at Sunderland?
Yeah.
Will we get a result at Sunderland?
Who knows, man? I would say it's going to be a very interesting litmus test as Sunderland being the first game, because I think if it was Brighton first game, in a weird way we wouldn't learn too much, because that's where we know De Zerbi ball is going to be ready to exploit. Sunderland is actually a more interesting one because they're going to play in a quite pragmatic way, and it's going to immediately ask very difficult questions of the way he plays. And so if we do get a result and we are opening them up quite quickly, I think we'll know very quickly. Okay, maybe this can work very quickly.
Yeah. It's interesting here. Sammy Mockbell saying it's understood De Zerbi is fully committed to rebuilding Tottenham and views the position as a long-term project regardless of which division they're playing in. Let's see if he still feels like that at the end of the season.
Great PR from Tottenham. Great PR. Look, they're basically trying to battle against, you know, all the worries and concerns that Tottenham fans have. He ain't going to be here for long. He didn't want to be here if we were in the Championship. He's a hothead. He's going to be gone within a couple of years. They're trying to fight against all of those worries, aren't they? So they're putting out all these things, you know.
He says, Sammy Otwell says, no relegation clause, committed even in the Championship, as an overwhelming first choice. The club tried to land him after the Frank exit, and the Greenwood issue was considered.
Well, yeah. Obviously, when Frank was fired, I think, to be fair, unfortunately for us, De Zerbi had only been gone one day, I think. So it was always difficult to convince him at that point. So then we did end up going for Tudor. But obviously, I doubt we offered him this deal when Frank got fired. If we did, I think
it's hard to think that he's actually committed to Spurs for in the Championship if he didn't want to take this role at this moment in time. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm. it's hard to think he's not committed to Tottenham. What?
It's hard to think that he's committed to being Spurs' manager in the Championship if he didn't take the job when we offered it to him in after Frank got sacked.
No, but I think he literally left after one day.
Oh, that's true, yeah.
So it was always going to be a tough sell, and he wanted a break, blah, blah, blah. What I think we should have done, probably what we should have done, is offered him, put in like our assistant for a couple games, whoever it was at the time. Tell Zerbi, look, in a couple of weeks, we're going to put this offer on the table. We want you to be our permanent manager right now, and given him the job at that point, and then instilled our assistant. But because we were so desperate to get a replacement and we were in such big trouble, we were like, okay, if Zerbi can't come, we'll just get an interim and wait for Poch, kind of thing. And that was that. And obviously now we're in the situation we're in now.
Yeah, true. All right, so that's the ways that we think we're going to line up under Roberto De Zerbi. Big test, first and foremost, Sunderland. We've got a bit of time to prepare for that game, so hopefully he can instill something in these players, and hopefully the players are excited to play under him as well. So we'll see how it goes, but I view this as a positive.
It's an interesting one because on one point, it's going to take a long time for them to, implement his style of play. But from another point, it's not that long ago we did have Ange, who did implement a very attacking style of play.
Yeah.
I know it's different, but it's not like he's going. Well, it is. We are going from one philosophy to another, but it wasn't that long ago, was it, that we were playing in a big, a more possession-based style of football. So, is it possible that they can pick up from there and think of, play like they were a bit more attacking like they were under Ange? Is it going to be that much of a departure from that? Maybe.
Look, I think every manager comes in with their new ideas and new ways of implementing things, and I think De Zerbi's way of playing is different to Ange, but I think the way they played under Ange will definitely help them maybe acclimatise a bit quicker than maybe most.
That's what I'm thinking. As much as a massive departure to Frank and Tudor.
Yeah, that's what I was saying before.
Yeah. They know how they did. It's not like it's completely like they've never played attacking football before.
Yeah. It's like we played attacking football for 2 years, and then we've just been no man's land for the last.
Whereas when Ange came in, he was taking over a team that literally hadn't played attacking football for like 4 years or something. Yeah. So it was very different then.
And I think these players have probably been dying to get back to that all season.
I think so.
So I think they'll look at it as like a breath of fresh air.
100%. I think they'll be good. I think they're going to be raring to go with De Zerbi. I really think so. I think they're going to be so excited to get him through the door and start playing under him.
Yeah, I agree.
Until they're not, but but for now, I think always at the beginning.
Who's the first player that's going to get it in the ear from De Zerbi?
Who's the first player? Maybe a Romero. You don't want to be here, then get out.
Palhinha.
You're going to tell him to call his agent.
Where do you think this leaves like the likes of Romero and Van der Ven? Because we've all been saying they're dead certs to leave.
Yeah.
So
and they probably still are, but it'd be very interesting to see if they mesh with De Zerbi or not. I think obviously how we end the season is going to be relevant, and how if they really believe in the football we're playing. But it's for them, it's like even if we stay up and we're good, it's kind of like been here, done that, isn't it? With the manager and all these different things. So I think it's going to take a hell of a convincing, even if we stay up comfortably and we have a really good end to the season. It's still going to take a hell of a lot of convincing, but I don't think it's impossible. But I think.
Do you think though, like De Zerbi gives it the best chance though?
I would say so,
because they know what football he's going to implement. They know they probably want to play that kind of similar style. But I guess it doesn't just come down to that, does it? It comes
Europe.
up. Yeah.
Tough sell, isn't it?
No Europe, but also about promises made by the club to certain managers and to certain players and all that kind of stuff that have not been adhered to.
Yeah.
That's the main crux of the issue here.
Can they trust this club? Even, they've had the promises before. It's tough to say that they can.
Yeah, exactly. All right, let's get into a couple more super chats. N. Anyup said, I wanted De Zerbi after Conte. After 5 managers, including Stellini and Mason, here he is now, finally. Come on, you Spurs.
Yeah, I mean, he probably would have been a good appointment after Conte, I would have said.
Yeah.
Although, well, I mean, we just had one hothead going straight into another one. I don't know, but I think, look, obviously we got Ange off at that point. I mean, maybe you would have done better than Ange, but who knows?
Yeah. The club just need to back him. The club need to put their money where their mouth is and continue to keep putting their money where their mouth is so he can build a squad that's able to shoot up the league again.
Definitely. I think that's the main thing because he needs technical players. He needs players who are brave. And if we don't give that to him, it's not going to work here.
Yeah. All right, what shall we get into? Comments?
Comments.
Are they still relevant?
Yeah, what's changed? We thought he was coming in yesterday, and we still think we know he's coming in today.
All right, let's get into some comments that we're going to react to. Obviously, you guys have been brilliant once again. Let's get into it.
Charlie Shank says he's under pressure before he's even agreed. That's how you know it's wrong. If it was another interim who has a Spurs connection, then we would think, okay, I well understand the reasons for hiring this person who is invested in the club and they did their best, whatever the outcome.
See, I disagree with that because I think whether you've got a Spurs connection or not, whether you've got Premier League experience or not, whether any manager coming in to this situation now is massively under pressure, no matter who they are.
Yeah.
You're telling me, like, what if Tim Sherwood comes in, he's not under massively under pressure? Of course he is.
Well, I guess he's under less pressure because if he fails, it's not like he's not going to get another job. He's not going to get another job anyway. Whereas Zerbi, his professional career is not on the line, but it's he's being judged on it.
Yes, but I don't think it's being judged as harshly as maybe like a Thomas Frank who put us in this situation from a managerial. Like, he's got 7 games.
Yeah. It's not his fault we went down.
It's not his fault we went down.
We all know that, but at the end of the day,
if we know that, then the people that are hiring him for his next job will know that as well.
Yeah, but it's still an asterisk there, isn't it?
Yeah, but I don't think that's going to be like taken into account for his next. Like, if we go down and let's say he leaves at the end of the season, I don't think teams are going to be looking at him being like, oh well, he took Spurs down, we're not going to take him.
It just depends. It depends how it happens. If he loses all 7 games and blows up and goes crazy in a press conference and has a Conte moment, then maybe it would. But
yeah, but I mean, he's done that every club, so it won't be the Spurs moment that's gonna.
He's done that every club, but not while it's gone as badly as it could go.
Yeah.
Here. So it's just a bit different. But no, I don't think it is wrong. I think it's the right thing to do in a situation where there aren't many right choices.
Yeah.
I don't think it's like the perfect option or this is guaranteed to work and wow, what an appointment. But it's more like looking at the scenario, looking at the options available to you. This is the best course of action, kind of thing.
Yeah.
Patrick McKenna says, I really rate De Zerbi as a tactician. I think that you definitely see an upswing when he comes in. Even without a large budget, he'll get you into the top half next season and you'll be playing some decent football. But once the honeymoon is over, unless he gets everything his way, he'll activate the doomsday device. Whatever happens, it won't be boring.
Yeah.
Do you think he can get us top half next season straight away?
Yeah, I think he can.
Yeah,
I think he can. I think any manager worth their salt should have got us top half this season.
Yeah, you're right about that. No, I think it's fair comments there from Patrick. Everyone's waiting for that honeymoon to finish. These honeymoons at times seem to be getting shorter and shorter. That's the truth. Connor Fogarty says, Ben and Sim are a funny pair. They did say they didn't want De Zerbi, yet now they say they want him. Also, I think it's important to add they were also happy with the Tudor appointment. They made a video very similar to this video, and they couldn't understand why fans were unhappy with the Tudor appointment, and then look what happened. Again, they're all of a sudden happy with De Zerbi, and they can't understand why fans are unhappy. I'll tell you why they're unhappy. They're unhappy because this board have appointed one hothead who didn't work out, which is what all his fans predicted, and now they're about to appoint another hothead who is also going to take us down.
I think...
Was Tudor a hothead? Maybe a bit. I mean, I don't think he was that particularly hot-headed.
I think he looked like he was a hothead, but I don't think he actually was a hothead.
Yeah, I don't think he did anything really hot-headed.
No, he didn't.
Apart from maybe some rash decisions.
I think fans are actually growing to like Tudor by the end of it. Look, his football was terrible, and we got worse on the pitch with him. That was the reality. Look, I think the reason why we said Tudor was a good appointment is because we were looking at all the other options, and they were just worse than him. It's not because we actually wanted Tudor to come to the club. That's what the reality was.
I'm pretty sure I said if we can get to Zerbi now, get to Zerbi.
Yeah, you did say that.
So I was of the opinion get Tudor if De Zerbi's impossible, which I assumed it was, but clearly it's not because money talks. But
yeah.
I don't think. I'm pretty sure when Tudor got announced, we don't really know what to think. Kind of opinion. As much like on the face of it, he's a firefighter. He's kind of done immediate jobs in some other clubs, but there's a lot of unknowns. So I wasn't delighted about it.
Yeah.
Well, you're trying to make sense of it, don't you?
On the De Zerbi one, like it's very true. Like I didn't want him in the middle of the season when it was all banded about and everything like that. But at this moment in time, in the situation that we're in, it's the best option available.
Yeah.
So I'm bang up for it now, for sure.
Exactly. And I think all the other options, for me, just smack of... this is smacks of desperation as well, but, hiring people like Redknapp and Hoddle and Houghton, is that really what people want? Is that people think that's going to be a hiring with enough quality to keep us in the division? I just highly doubt it.
Yeah.
I think you need someone with real special ability, and I think Zerbi is that.
Yeah.
But obviously comes with a lot of other stuff. Kudo Chan says, the simple truth is there is no grey option available. You'll just have to make do as best you can with what's on offer. Now, would that be De Zerbi? Maybe, but he would likely need a handful of games to really implement his system, and quite frankly, Spurs have no time at all to work with. They need results immediately. The way Spurs seemingly just tried to throw money at him to beg him to take over, and now instead of take over now instead of in the summer, is not exactly what I would call a good negotiation position or a very convincing offer.
Yeah, look, that's all true. That is all true, but this is the situation that we're in. Any manager would need time to implement their ideas and to get the players on side and everything like that. But you're looking at the managers available. De Zerbi is the best bet. De Zerbi is the best manager. De Zerbi is the best tactician available, and he's got Premier League experience, and he's got good Premier League experience as well. He did a good job at Brighton. And of course, from the club's perspective, it's a terrible negotiation position to be in. But they've put us they've put themselves in that situation. So nobody should have any sympathy for them.
Yeah, there's no point sticking your head in the sand and thinking like, oh, we shouldn't be in that position. We are in that position, and it's their fault in this position. We can't deny it. We are in the worst negotiating position possible, and we have to move heaven and earth to get a deal like this done. That's the truth, and we shouldn't be in this position. And it doesn't sit right with me that we have to, club announce something. Is that true? We have to be in this position, but we are. So we have to deal with it.
Yeah.
That's reality. Has it been announced?
Yeah, it has.
All right,
We'll pause the comments for now. We'll pause the comments for now because De Zerbi has been announced officially. That was bloody quick, mate. How's it gone from to officially announced in the space of minutes?
It needed to be quick, didn't it? It needed to be quick because we don't have a lot of time. We did hear an announcement imminent, to be fair. Subject to work permit. Well, the other guy, it took a while to get his work permit.
Oh, God, don't start with his bloody work permits again. Yeah, so there's no pictures of him holding up a Spurs shirt or anything like that.
I don't think he's in London yet. I heard he's not going to be in London till...
They said later this week.
Yeah, in this week. I don't think he's in London yet, so...
So can we bring up X?
Oh, no. We'll get to that in a minute.
Go to the Spurs official.
there is a quote from him, which we'll get into.
Yeah, push this through. So there you go. We are pleased to announce the appointment of Roberto De Zerbi as our new men's head coach as a long-term contract subject to a work permit. If you click onto the statement, this is on the Spurs official website saying we are pleased to announce the appointment of Roberto De Zerbi as our new men's head coach on a long-term contract subject to work permit. Roberto said, "I'm delighted to be joining this fantastic football club, which is one of the biggest and most prestigious in the world. In all my discussions with the club's leadership, their ambition for the future has been clear: to build a team capable of reaching great achievements, and to do that playing a style of football that excites and inspires our supporters. I am here because I believe in that ambition and have signed a long-term contract to give everything to deliver it. Our short-term priority is to climb the Premier League table, which will then complete focus until final whistle on the last game of the season. I'm looking forward to getting out on the training pitch and working with these players to achieve that." Johan Lang has said that Roberto was our number one target for the summer, and we are very pleased to be able to bring him in now. He is one of the most creative and forward-thinking coaches in world football and brings with him a wealth of experience at the highest level, including the Premier League. Following a playing career of almost 300 appearances across 15 years, Brescia-born Roberto began coaching in his native Italy, and in June 2018 joined Serie A side Sassuolo, earning recognition for his exciting attack-minded and possession-based approach. He took charge of Shakhtar Donetsk in May 2021, leading them to the Champions League group stages and the Ukrainian Super Cup, his first piece of silverware as a coach. Heading to East Sussex to join Brighton and Hove Albion in September 22, Roberto helped secure the Seagulls' highest ever Premier League finish in his debut season, earning European qualification for the first time in the club's history. In his most recent role at Marseille, the League One side finished as runners-up in the 24-25, earning a spot in the UEFA Champions League. So there you have it. That is the statement.
So
they claim he was our number one choice. I mean, that is what Fabrizio Romano has been saying over the last month or so.
Yes, saying that. We also have heard beforehand that Paratici is a big fan of his, and Paratici really wanted him. Do we believe he was first choice ahead of Pochettino?
I think that, I don't know, to be honest. Maybe the Pochettino thing was more fan-led than actually what we actually thought in the club.
So you think the reason...
Maybe, I don't know.
No, but you think the reason why we waited until now to get him was just because he really didn't want to come now, and we've had to throw the book at him to bring him in now?
Maybe the thinking at Spurs was we wanted Pochettino, but then when things happened at Marseille maybe that diverted to De Zerbi.
Right. I think it makes sense that we tried to get him. We tried to get him when Frank got sacked. He'd only left a day before, so that was always going to be tough. But we should have tried and moved a lot harder probably to get him, I would say, at that point. And now,
but like you said before, there's always a tall order to get him in a day after he left Marseille.
Yeah, but you've seen it with before that some clubs, they'll have, until the right guy comes, they'll have an assistant in charge for a game or two. Before, even United, they had Darren Fletcher. Before they could even get an interim sorted, they had Darren Fletcher in charge for a game, and then Carrick took charge.
The thing is, right, if De Zerbi is though saying to them like, I need a bit of a break, I've only just left Marseille, then how long are they supposed to wait for him?
Yeah, true. We could add another 0. That'll make him more comfortable, wouldn't it? But look, was he?
He's saying the right things though, isn't he?
I got the feeling he wasn't our number one. I think Poch was our number one target in the summer, in my opinion. But I think it's just right now. It's like De Zerbi, he's available now. He's one of our targets anyway in the summer. So if we can just move heaven enough to get him now and keep us up, we've got to do that. So I think that makes sense. I reckon he was a target though for the summer. I don't know if he was our number one. I think if we waited to get this done in the summer, I don't think we appoint De Zerbi. I think we appoint Poch.
Gardner Mag says he's made an extra 20 million in 6 weeks. So
that's insane.
Not bad, he's going to be...
Not bad, is it?
It's mad. I can't believe this is all like official already. We only got the here we go, 20 minutes ago, however long it was. But yeah, no relegation release clause. He's saying he's fully committed even if Spurs go down.
It's interesting. He says our short-term priority is to climb the table, not to avoid relegation. He says to climb the table. He puts it that way, which I think is quite interesting. And then he also says, he believes in the long-term vision of the club. Obviously, he's just saying all this stuff. All managers have to say this stuff, don't they, when they first join? But I think, in theory, just in terms of the way he plays football, that is the ethos of Tottenham, isn't it? More to daring, bravery, to dare us to do. I think he'll bring that on the pitch for sure. So I do think there is alignment there, in that sense. In terms of all this stuff, he believes in the long-term project, the ambition of the owners, all this kind of stuff here. I don't know if he believes that or not.
I mean,
he says it, but
it's up to the board to prove it. That's what it all comes down to. Every manager that comes through the doors at this football club get the lip service from the board saying, we're going to back you, we're going to give you exactly what you need in the transfer market. None of them have got exactly what they've needed. And that's time for the board to put up or shut up, you know what I mean?
Do you reckon Vinay went through a 10-point process with 30 candidates for this one?
I think it was a 2-point process with 2 candidates.
And Lang making the statement, but he is one of the most creative and forward-thinking coaches in world football, which is very different to what they were saying about Frank, wasn't it?
What did they say about Frank? I'm
trying to remember. They said he's a modern coach, but he brings stability or something like that. For something more boring. Yeah,
Zerbi definitely does. Is he going to bring stability to the show?
No, definitely not. We are very pleased to be able to bring him in now. Well, you've had to pay an arm and a leg for it, that's for sure. In my discussions with the club's leadership, their ambition for the future has been clear: to build a team capable of reaching great achievements, and to do that playing a style of football that excites and inspires our supporters. So, just achieve great achievements. No talk about winning stuff at the moment. Just achieve great achievements.
Let's bloody stay in the league, and then we can talk about winning things. And let's see him backed in the summer as well, and then we can talk about winning things.
True. Okay, well, I'm looking forward to seeing his first on-camera interview and him holding up the Spurs shirt and everything like that. But it's official. Here we go again.
Here we go again. Another manager, this time with a 5-year contract, no relegation clause, which is mad.
Is that the longest contract we've ever given a man? I think we gave Poch a long one, though, didn't we?
When he re-signed, yeah.
That was a 5-year one.
Yeah, I think it was.
So it must be the longest one since
This is probably the longest contract that we've ever given a new manager.
Yeah, for sure. Surely.
It's a mad contract this guy's been given.
5 years.
The 3rd highest paid manager in the league. 5 years, no relegation break clause or anything like that. It's just he's contractually obliged if we go down to manage us in the Championship, which is just mad.
Well, he's saying the right things. Let's see if he can back it up on the pitch, and let's see if this isn't a match made in heaven, a hell, or a match made in heaven. Let's see.
Let's hope it starts off with a match made in heaven, and then whatever happens after, you know what I mean? But all I care about right at this moment in time is if he can keep us in this division. I think that's all that should matter to anyone right now. And then we can deal with tomorrow's problem tomorrow. You know what I mean?
Oof. I'm looking forward to seeing pictures of the first training session. I can't believe Zerbi actually got him.
Yeah.
I really can't believe it. I really thought, definitely 48 hours ago, I thought there was very little chance this was ever going to happen. And here we are.
You happy with it?
I am happy with it. I think in general...
It's got to be exciting, doesn't it? It's got to be exciting.
Yeah. I think... I'm just excited we got a manager who plays attacking football again, first and foremost.
Yeah.
I think that's the thing for me. I think we've just suffered a lot definitely over the last year, but also last 18 months in how things have gone. But obviously we know we need to get clear of these injuries. We need, someone at the helm. We need to start building something again. I don't know what we've been doing over the last year with Frank and and Tudor. I don't know what direction this club was trying to
What
go
we've been
in.
doing over the last 7 years.
But I'm just glad we've got another attacking manager in the helm, someone who I think the way he plays football will get fans excited again. So I don't know. I think part of me feels and knows it's going to end in tears, and we're kind of setting ourselves up to fail at some point. But you never know. Football's all about hope.
This whole thing that everyone's saying about De Zerbi, saying it always ends in tears, it always ends in tears. Every single manager always ends in tears at this football club. So,
and most football clubs.
Yeah. So I mean, that is not just to do with De Zerbi. So I think that whole kind of thing is just a bit stupid because, like, when does it not end in tears?
I know, but it just seems as though this is like a volatile character who's it's almost guaranteed to. Rather than like, I don't know, at least Poch was here for a while. And
it's always guaranteed to at Tottenham.
But I think we've got a very talented, forward-thinking, revolutionary kind of tactician at the helm.
I think the biggest thing for me is that now we've got De Zerbi in. When we had Ange in, we made a departure and went for Thomas Frank, and now we've got De Zerbi in. We need to carry on in this kind of way, whether it lasts with De Zerbi or not. The next appointment after De Zerbi has to be another kind of manager of the same kind of ilk.
Yeah, exactly. We need to be going for managers who want to play this kind of football. This has to be it needs to be a continuation.
It needs to be a continuation. So the players that we bring in for De Zerbi need to be, being able to be adaptable for the next manager.
De Zerbi should have been after Ange. We should have got all after him.
Correct.
That's what we should have done.
Or Pochettino, whoever it may be, but another attacking manager, yeah.
Yeah.
As much as I said that Frank was the right decision, obviously I was very wrong on that.
No, he was completely the wrong decision.
But yeah, it should have been De Zerbi. But De Zerbi was in a job.
Yeah.
And he didn't want to leave.
Money talks, clearly.
Yeah. But money has only spoken for De Zerbi since we've been in absolute panic mode.
Yeah, true. I think
as someone says, John Morris says, paid an arm and a leg, but could save us a bollock.
Absolutely spot on. Absolutely spot on. Look, I think there's a lot of copium because I think there's a lot to be concerned about. But I also think it's not all bad. There are things to be excited about. I think, when he was being touted to a lot of bigger clubs potentially, and there's a reason for that. I think people really appreciate what he's capable of as a manager, and I think there is a lot to be excited about what he provides on the pitch and tactically. And I think he's a brilliant tactician, really brilliant.
Put it this way, yeah, we're in this relegation battle with Nottingham Forest, Leeds, and West Ham right now. I think they're probably looking at this being like, oh shit, Spurs actually are going to beat this thing. Where, as before with Igor Tudor and Thomas Frank, they'll be like, these guys just sleepwalking to relegation. I think they're going to be running scared a little bit now that we've got De Zerbi in. And you're looking at the managers, Daniel Farke, Vitor Pereira, and Nuno. I mean, De Zerbi's levels above any of those managers.
Yeah, exactly. So I think we've got ourselves a very good manager in a situation where it's dire. It's very dire. It looked like we're destined for the drop. So to pick up a manager of his quality in that situation is a good thing. I wouldn't say an impressive thing, because we never should be in this situation, but it's a good thing that we've been able to get him in.
Yeah.
And it's a bit of a coup. I think it's a bit of a coup. So that we've got.
Particularly in the state that we're in, yeah.
Yeah, we're kind of lucky that we're able to get a manager this good at this stage. For sure. So from that point of view, it's good. And he's also one of the only managers you could see potentially a bit of a future with beyond this season.
And that shows you as well. I know we've paid an arm and a leg to get there, but I mean, I don't think he'd be joining West Ham or Leeds or Nottingham Forest in this situation.
Yeah, I think I agree with that.
So it just shows you, like, the name of the Tottenham Hotspur name still has that little bit of a pull.
Agreed. Yeah, I don't think he would have got. I don't think they would have gone. Agreed.
A bit similar to like the summer when Manchester United had no European football, but they were able to get in Acuna and Mbeumo over us when we had Champions League football. But they're Manchester United, so they've still got that pull. Like, we've got that pull over the teams that we're fighting against right now.
And he does seem to improve players as well, which I'm excited, because all of our players pretty much are underperforming right now. And I think he'll platform them in a much better way, in a more correct way. Better way than I think Frank did, for sure. I know to be fair, there's a lot of things you could say very similarly for Frank, for De Zerbi, in terms of adaptable, modern coach, Premier League experience, overperformed with a smaller club. But I think they did it in very different ways. They just did it in very different ways. Albeit, they both did it, in fairness, in structures which benefited them, which platformed them as a coach in a better way, rather than what we do. So I think that's also something to think about. But I think the way De Zerbi approaches football is just very different to Frank. He's adaptable and he changes things, which he did at Spurs even, but he does it to stop the opposition. Whereas De Zerbi will change things to hurt the opposition. And I think that is something which I'm looking forward to seeing at Tottenham.
Yeah. And I think it's actually like we're going into a bit of the unknown. We don't know like how he's going to manage the situation in the last 7 games, but it adds that bit of an excitement factor now going into the Sunderland game, where as before, like under Tudor or whatever, if it would be under Frank, like just dreading every game that comes. Now there's that bit of excitement factor where we're looking forward to games now.
Yeah.
Because I'm very much looking forward to that Sunderland game and seeing how it all manifests and progresses and seeing what he actually does on the football pitch.
Until Vicario kicks into his own net.
Yeah, until then. But until then, I'm going to be excited.
For sure. I'm excited as well. I'm excited to see what he can do. I think when you look at his other teams, the way they play football, you want to see that at Tottenham, don't you? So you've got to be excited about the prospect of him bringing that here and being able to enjoy watching Tottenham play football again. Yeah. It's been so long. And I think De Zerbi's our best shot at it right now.
Be interesting to see when we know about the backroom staff, because obviously we've heard Nesta, potentially Sandro. I wonder when that's going to be made public knowledge.
Soon, probably. Over the next day or so.
Yeah.
I would assume. I think that's obviously all getting sorted at the moment.
Because like we all talk about, the amount of staff that Thomas Frank brought with him to the club. Like a lot of them were let go, obviously, and got a severance package for all of them. The amount of money.
Tudor's also brought in staff.
Yeah, well, Tudor apparently left without money.
Without a payoff, yeah.
I don't know about his staff. I don't know how many of his staff actually left, because Bruno Saltor stayed.
2 of them left.
2 of them
Roderick.
I mean, the amount of money Spurs have wasted this season is just crazy, isn't it?
It's nuts. It's insane. We waste so much money due to our own bad decisions. It's nuts. And we've just done it again. We're not saying wasted it to get De Zerbi, but wasted it overpaying massively to get him in because we're in such a desperate situation. We need to get him in now. If we waited till the summer, if we somehow stayed up and waited till the summer, I don't think the deal would have been. I don't think it would have been 5 years, and I don't think he'd be the 3rd highest paid manager in the league. Yeah. I think it would have been different. So because we need him now, we've had to do the deal. But we waste so much money. It's insane.
Yeah, crazy. But that's it. De Zerbi is officially the new Tottenham manager. 5-year contract, 3rd highest paid manager in the Premier League. Apparently there were rumours of a 15 million signing on fee as well. No relegation break clause or anything like that. So he is contractually obliged to be Tottenham's manager in the Championship if we do get relegated. But I think he's going to keep us up. I really believe that. And I think we've given ourselves, as of now, the best opportunity to stay up by signing Roberto De Zerbi. So, I'm excited, but it doesn't take away from the fact what a ridiculous season that this ownership has put us into by the consistent bad decisions time after time after time. But I do think out of all the shit, this is actually a good decision that they've done.
Yeah, I agree. Well, I think it's
forced.
Yeah, I think it's the best decision they could do in the scenario.
Yeah. 100%. 100% right. So that's that. That is that, people. A couple of super chats. J-Dog saying, Supporters Trust are complaining about De Zerbi's support of Greenwood and have stated they oppose his appointment. They would prefer relegation. This club man And Francis is saying, have you seen the Supporters Trust statement? I have not seen it. Have you seen it?
I'm just reading it now. Just says, we note the club's announcement of the appointment of Roberto Zerbi to the manager's role. While we recognise the limited pool of managers with recent Premier League experience and the need to act with urgency as Spurs fans, the prospect of relegation, this appointment raises serious and far-reaching concerns. And many fans have been in touch with us to urge to communicate the strength of feeling. We raised these concerns directly with the club prior to the announcement. The club has previously committed to challenging instances of violence against women and girls and acting with integrity and upholding its values when faced with any incidents. De Zerbi's comments about Mason Greenwood were unnecessary, ill-judged and deeply offensive to a significant number of supporters, and without doubt will have left victims of male violence alarmed. We believe these statements left unchecked will create a divide amongst supporters at a time when we all need to be pulling together to back the team. It's concerning that the club will put us in this position right when the team need fans the most. Fans are rallying behind the All Together Always initiative, and this appointment places heavy strain on that unity. If those remarks reflect his genuine views, they cast a troubling shadow over the values of the clubs we love. The club must reassert its commitment to the values that fans hold dear, chief among them equality, respect, integrity. Any perceived sympathy toward alleged perpetrators of physical or sexual violence against women fundamentally undermines trust in the custodianship of this club. It's a long statement. With the appointment, communication from the club and from Mr. De Zerbi must clearly and unequivocally reaffirm these values. The club must reassert its commitment to the values that fans hold dear. Chief amongst them, equality. I know I've read that. With the appointment, communication and from the club and from De Zerbi must clearly and unequivocally reaffirm these values. Furthermore, those words must be backed by meaningful action, including visible and sustained support for women's charities and organisations working to combat violence against women. Our preference would have been for a short-term appointment of an individual or individuals who understand the club and can lead the players in the 7 battles to come. There would have been an opportunity in the summer to attract a wide range of potential applicants with a track record of success in inspiring fans and players, candidates who could lead and develop sustained success for the team for the seasons to come. The club have chosen otherwise. We will continue to support efforts to get behind the team and to play our part in preserving the club's Premier League status, but it's understandable that many fans will do so with a heavy heart. Our 5 principles of Spurs ownership, including leading with integrity and championing ethical standards. At present, supporters rate performance in this area at just 2.2 out of 10. This decision risks further eroding confidence unless addressing with clarity, humility and decisive action. We fully understand that the immediate priority is to avoid relegation. However, this situation is a result of prolonged strategic failings. The trust have warned for years that the club was heading in this direction, and the lack of timely sound decision-making has now left options severely compromised. It will take significant effort for many fans to restore their faith in the club's leadership. That process must begin with transparency, accountability and renewed commitment to the principle that define Tottenham Hotspur.
That's a long statement.
Long statement. That's a statement from the Supporters Trust.
They're saying they would prefer to see like Hoddle or Sherwood or someone like this at the helm for the last 7 games.
Our preference would have been for a short-term appointment of an individuals who understand the club and can lead the players in the 7 battles to come. That's what they say. Look, there's a lot of different opinions on this subject. I think if you even begin to address it, you get involved in the culture war, which is just not what we want to discuss as a channel. Like, it's just either way. It's like, obviously, I don't even want to discuss his comments because it's just a somewhere you don't want to go. But I understand the statement the trust have made, and I agree with a lot of it. And that's, look, they represent a lot of the fans, so fair enough. And I don't want to tell anyone what to think. Then people have their own opinions, and that's it. But yeah, That's their opinion.
Yeah, fair enough. Everyone's entitled to their own opinion and to feel how they want to feel about the subject. I don't even know what's 100% been said or how it's been said, but look, I don't think anyone condones or anything of what Mason Greenwood did. That's for sure. I know the charges were dropped, but there was clear evidence for everyone to see what he did. So, look, nobody condones that, and I don't think. I mean, I can't speak for him, but I don't think De Zerbi would condone what he did either. Like, it's just a human thing. Like, it's just horrific. But look, we need to focus on the job at hand, and that is keep Spurs in the Premier League.
Absolutely.
And we're a football club, and I think we've given ourselves the best opportunity to do so by hiring Roberto De Zerbi. But yeah, look, I hate talking about all this kind of stuff. Like, it's not what we should be doing as football fans.
Yeah, well, no, look, if people want to discuss it, that's absolutely fine. I feel it's just a minefield for us. Where anywhere you discuss it, one side or the other side, you get into discussions that this channel isn't about. And so it's about, we talk about football, and that's what we want to keep talking about, the footballing side of things.
Exactly.
But I'm not, if people want to discuss that and people want to give their opinions, all power to them, and
we'll let other people take over those discussions.
Exactly.
All right, so shall we finish off these comments then?
Yeah. Where were we? Yeah, fan back to Spurs. Ange fan, I think was the next one. Said, let us be honest. This is not just about tactics anymore. It's about identity. De Zerbi is a top coach, no doubt, but he's also emotional and reactive. That might work at Brighton, but Tottenham Hotspur is a completely different pressure cooker. And here is the truth. The shadow of Pochettino is still there. Fans are not judging results. They are judging connection. If De Zerbi wins early, everyone is on board. If he does not, the touchline drama starts. This picture turns out very quickly. This feels like a high-risk decision at the wrong time. Tottenham Hotspur do not need another gamble. They need stability. Otherwise, we are having the same conversation again in 6 months.
See, I don't get this argument about a gamble and a high-risk appointment and all this kind of stuff, because every appointment is a high-risk appointment at this moment in time. You're telling me Sherwood's not a high-risk appointment? You're telling me Glenn Hoddle's not a high-risk appointment? You're telling me Harry Redknapp's not a high-risk appointment? They're all high-risk appointments.
Exactly.
In the situation that we're in.
And none of those are higher risk, I would argue, because they haven't managed. How is it higher? How is it less of a risk to hire a manager who's been in the Premier League, knows how to win games in the last couple of years, and can get, is very up to date tactically with the game and stuff, rather than a manager who managed 15 years ago, who might know the club then when we were playing at White Hart Lane, but does he know the current club? People always say, "Oh, we want someone who knows the club." What does Harry Redknapp know about the current club? What does Sherwood know about the club that is now? It's a different club to than they were back in 2000, wherever it was 13. Like, it's a very different beast.
Yeah.
So just because they managed the club then, all right, why don't we hire Keith Birkinshaw?
But
we
also
in the 80s, it's very different.
Yeah, but also, like, people have always said consistently over the last 5-6 years, however many years it's been, probably longer than that, saying, go get the best in class. That's literally what you've got right now. Like, the best available manager we've just got through the door.
Yeah, true.
So that's probably the least risk possible. And I'm not saying it's not a risk, because it is a risk.
Oh, it is.
Anything that we're in right now is a risk, but it's the least risk possible because we've got the highest caliber manager available.
Exactly. That's how I see it. And as much as there's all these different avenues you can go down, if you want the best quality, this is it. If you're just focused on that, yes, you can say knows the club, short-term appointment, all these different things can just, play on vibes, get the fans behind them, unity. There's all those different other things which, for me, are secondary to quality. And that's where I stand.
And like the whole thing of him being a hothead, yeah, fine, he's a hothead. But we've just got Thomas Frank.
The opposite of a hothead.
Who's like literally the most passive guy that you could ever meet as a manager. And how did that turn out?
Exactly. So for me, quality trumps all of those. All those things are important, but quality is the most important.
Yeah.
I would say. Manic says the thing that's so wild to me is that this club will spend stupid money on literally anything but players.
That is the thing that just grinds me, man, because like I mentioned earlier on the stream, it's just like if they would have panicked in January, we might not be in this mess and we wouldn't have to have thrown the book at Zerbi. But they didn't, and this is the situation that we're in right now, and they've had to do it.
Spurs E17 says, Sim, get real. Most managers come for the money, not for the love of the club. Maybe this shock will make the owners start spending proper money now they know the consequences.
They have to. Surely they have to now, knowing that 2 years in a row we finished 17th, and this year we've been closer to relegation than we ever have been before. Like, they've brought in a manager now that they know is a volatile figure, that they know will throw them under the bus at the earliest opportunity. They have to give him what he wants. They have to.
I don't think I've ever said managers are coming for the love of the club, but they're coming believing in a project to do something here, right? You sell them a project, you come here, we will build it around you. We see you as a central figure to how we want to play, how you manage the players, all this kind of stuff. And, you will get better players. And in a few years' time, we're going to be competing for big things as a project. You want to sell a manager, right? My point is, he's not coming. I don't think anyway. He's not coming because he sees a project here. He's coming because the figures are so eye-watering that even though he doesn't want to be here right now, he can't help but have his head turned because we're giving him a ridiculously good offer, and those aren't really the conditions you probably want someone to come to your club. You want them because they believe that coming to your club will be good for their career and you can build something together. That's what you want. But that's not the position we're in. And who's going to come here believing in a project? Let's be honest. And it's not like everyone went to Chelsea because they really believed in a project. They probably went there because the money was so good. And same with City, but they made it work because there was actually a good project there, and they did have things going on. But it wasn't always just because it was about the project. And obviously, the money talked at the end of the day. So let's just hope money has spoken, but we can actually build a project on top of that as well. But my whole point is, it's not the best scenario to be negotiating for a manager like that.
It's far from the best scenario.
No, you want it to have some sort of you want to have some sort of cards to play, but we don't have any, and that's just our fault. ACJB8 says, I would be happier with Maddison and Kulu managing the team, in all seriousness.
So you'd be more happy with Championship football than giving us the best chance of staying in the Premier League then?
Madison and Decky, double act. Well, look, we can't even talk about that because we've got Zerbi now, so there's no point.
How close is Maddison actually to getting on the pitch?
I wouldn't be surprised. Maybe end of April time.
I think Madders would love playing under Zerbi, man.
Yeah, for sure. I think you like it too. SXZC says, honestly, with the amount of times I've seen our players misplace passes during a game, I actually, for one, wouldn't mind having a manager who's harsh to these players during training, because it pisses me off every single time we can't string 3 forward passes on the pitch.
Mate, if Zerbi was manager and we saw the traits that we've seen in this team all season, I think all these players will have black eyes by this stage of the season.
Yeah, literally. He's gonna tell everyone to call their agent. You call your agent, and you call your agent, and you call your agent. He's gonna be like Oprah. Blue Kyber Crystal says, isn't the issue that he most likely won't keep you up because he's the manager who needs time to implement his system and get his players on side?
But I think it's been proven that a lot of managers need time to implement their system. That's not something that is solely on Roberto Zerbi. Obviously, everyone's pining back to when he was brought in at Brighton, and obviously he didn't hit the ground running, and it took him 4 or 5 games to get his first win. But just because that happened at Brighton doesn't mean that's going to be the same at Tottenham.
Yeah, no.
It might be, but it doesn't mean it definitely will be.
I think Marseille got off to a quick start, but then again,
he had a pre-season at Marseille.
Yeah, exactly. He didn't come in mid-season. Yeah. Look, I think that is an issue. There's no beating around the bush. But there's a concern there, but it's either that or you go for a manager you don't think is very good, who hasn't managed in 15 years. That's a bigger issue for me than someone who potentially could take a few games for a system to bed in. On the flip side, maybe De Zerbi's a good enough manager to manage in this situation in the short term to get there enough results to keep us up, and then he fully gets his system involved next season. Maybe that's a scenario people aren't considering, that he's good enough to adjust to the situation at hand in the short term, while next season thinking about the long term, how he wants to implement his system. Maybe he's a good enough manager to do that. But maybe you want to trust somebody who has a manager in 15 years.
But for all, and like for all these people who has that opinion, which is fair enough, tell me which manager that you had confidence in that could come in and hit the ground running straight away. Was there any manager? Because I don't think there is. There's not one manager available that can come in and hit the ground running right now.
Let's say Deitch. I think he took 3 or 4 games to win a game at Forest when he just got appointed. So even he's known as a guy who can come in and, bam, straight away, do these simple things, and you play this and we'll stay up. He might take a couple of games. No guarantee he just hits the ground running. There's no guarantee that anyone is just going to hit the ground running.
Yeah, and we're not sitting here saying it's a guarantee for De Zerbi to even keep us up. There's no guarantee whatsoever. No. There's still a high chance that we get relegated.
Absolutely.
But he's the best in class. Well, not the best in class, but the best available option right now.
Exactly. So, you can complain and say this is a bad choice and give all the reasons why this is a bad choice. And there's a lot of valid criticisms and valid reasons why this is not a good thing to do what we're doing. You can give it 10 of them and they're all valid, but it's still the best option, because the other alternatives, probably you can give 20 reasons why they're about a worse choice.
Yeah.
So it's the best option available, albeit it's not the perfect option.
Yeah. Yeah, and there's no perfect option right now. But anyway, that is your comments, people. Big up to each and every one of you for sending them in. We'll be reacting to more as the weeks, as the days progress. Maybe we'll get some fans on tomorrow to react to the De Zerbi appointment. But as of now, I think that's it from us today, people. More internationals to get your teeth bitten into tonight. But right now, big news. De Zerbi is officially announced as the new Tottenham manager. I want to thank you all for joining us today, and we'll see you all very, very soon. Like, subscribe and comment. And as always, come on you Spurs.